Tonight's presentation of high school football on High Top Sports Network is presented by the Richard G. Snyder YMCA. Principles put into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all.
Hi everyone. Hi everybody. Hi everybody. Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Hey everyone. Hey everyone. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. We're here tonight at the Richard G. Snyder YMCA. T-Bone.
Woo! Guys, that's right. It's $5 Sushi Wednesday.
Produce sale. Bananas. 45 cents a pound.
Pork turkeys. You know why we're doing pork turkeys? We're doing a fundraiser.
The meat keeps on rolling the Harry Sprinkle.
You know what day it is today. It is Sushi Wednesday. $5 sushi rolls today.
We're getting inspired. Come on. Help me. Hashtag save on me.
And we're pumped up because we are less than 24 hours away from Camp Out for Community tomorrow. Like and share, like and share. So like and share, like and share. Help spread the word. Just make sure you like and share. We can't do what we do without you.
Come and see us. We can't do what we do without you. Come and see us.
We can't do what we do without you. Come and see us.
Can't do what we do without you. Come and see us.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Dr. DeMond, owner of DeMond Chiropractic, a third-generation chiropractic clinic located in McGrann, Pennsylvania, founded in 1947 by my grandfather, John R. DeMond Sr. We would love to help you achieve your healthcare goals and carry on the proud tradition that we offer here in Armstrong County. Give us a call, 724-763-8000.
Are you tired of the same old Saturdays? Well, come on out to Don Martin's Lernerville Speedway on Saturday, September 17th for the Commonwealth Clash. Sprint cars invade Sarver, Pennsylvania for a jaw-dropping, blood-pumping, most exhilarating showcase of speed. Or purchase your tickets now at lernerville.com.
Life doesn't slow down when the everyday aches and pains have you sidelined. So get back on the field sooner with the care of Olson Chiropractic. Dr. Ryan Olson and his staff treat a variety of conditions for patients of all ages. Don't jeopardize your quality of life and the moments along the way. Let Olson Chiropractic help you find the healthier, younger you. Call Olson Chiropractic at 724-548-1040 to schedule a consultation or see a full list of services online at olson-chiro.com.
Armstrong Indoor Athletics, located at 132 South Grand Street Avenue in downtown Katanning, offers a state-of-the-art training facility and top-tier instruction by experienced coaches to help turn your youngster into the best baseball or softball player they can be. Batting cage and bullpen lane rentals are available for 30 to 60-minute sessions, and you can also sign your baseball or softball player up for private hitting, pitching, fielding, and catching instruction with our knowledgeable staff. Be sure to visit Armstrong Indoor Athletics online at aia.team or call them at 724-599-9761 for more information today.
In life, some things just go together, like a burger and fries. And home and auto insurance from State Farm. Combine and save.
In Ford City, talk to State Farm agent Ryan Bowser today.
Hello and welcome into High Top Sports Network for tonight's presentation of high school football between the Armstrong Riverhawks and the host Freeport Yellowjackets. Joining me to my right is Ryan Sprankle here on this Richard G. Snyder YMCA game night on High Top Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in to the Ryan Bowser State Farm pregame here ahead of this matchup between two local teams, backyard rivals, I guess you could say. They already had a thrilling game on the volleyball court earlier in the week and now about to face off on the gridiron. Certainly a lot of storylines, both teams coming in with winning records. Freeport 3-0, Armstrong 2-1. Should be a good one here tonight. Ryan, glad to be here with you, man.
Yeah, good to be with you. This is a great night. I was joking coming in. I said it's like we live in West Texas. All of a sudden, every game is a sellout. Lines of people looking to get in, businesses closing. Everybody in the community's here. For those that aren't here, they're listening in, and for those that are here, they're listening in later. So it's really kind of a cool time to be in the Armstrong northeast corridor of Pittsburgh area, because these two teams can both bring us. It's going to be an exciting game.
Yeah, I think the big storyline, Ryan, for this game is just the matchup between I guess there's various matchups. The one I'm really looking forward to seeing the most is Ben Lane versus that Armstrong secondary. He's team's leading receiver, also the team's leading rusher. We know what Caden Olson can do. He's certainly really spreading the ball around well this year, finding a lot of different guys, a lot of different players getting involved. Armstrong getting off to a slow start in the last few games. That's something I think they can ill afford to do tonight. And that's another thing I think that we should be looking out for. And, Freeport primarily a run-first team. If Armstrong's front seven continues to play and be its most valuable asset, like I believe it has here so far, Ryan, that might force the Yellowjackets to maybe go to the air a little bit more, and first-year quarterback Gavin Croney might get put in a position that maybe he wasn't expecting to be put in, but we'll have to adapt here against a very familiar foe.
Yeah, they run similar offensive schemes, Riverhawks and Yellowjackets, and I think it's kind of vice versa as far as what needs to happen for both of the offenses. I think for Freeport, their running game is well known. They have multiple threats on the ends around, the counters. They can run some good traps. The quarterback can move when he needs to. So the running game isn't really an issue for them. The passing game's been a little more inconsistent. Croney's been effective. He's been able to stretch the defense at times, but he's also missed a lot of open receivers and hasn't been as consistent, I'm sure, as they would like him to be through the air. That could be receiver, quarterback miscommunication, somebody reading the wrong routes. But bottom line is, I think if you're Freeport, you want to see more balance tonight. You want to be able to extend plays, stretch the field a little bit more, make Armstrong defend 40 yards downfield, open up your running game. I think if you're Armstrong, it's kind of vice versa. It's the opposite. They want to get the general going. They want to get Crispin going. They want to get Olson going with the legs early on, get the running game going. I think for Caden, for Olson, they need to make sure early on, I think it's important to establish the run. That's going to make the RPOs open up a lot more. It's going to make those holes in the defense open up a lot more. The wide receiver is going to be able to have a lot more separation. So if you're Armstrong, I think getting some rhythm on offense early with the running game is going to help him settle in, avoid kind of those high throws we saw last week against Newcastle. And then when they go to the air, he's going to have a lot more window, a lot more time to throw because they've set it up through the running game. So both teams, I think, they're looking in this game. They both have 3 games in. They've both shown what they are. But I think this is the game where they both kind of showed that, hey, we can be a balanced offense. Armstrong really hasn't had a lot of consistency on the ground, and Freeport hasn't had a lot of consistency through the air. So I think the first team that can kind of find that balance is at least at first going to get a good edge on the other team in this game.
I had a lot of people complaining they didn't get to see you on the broadcast. They only got to hear you. Not like they hear you enough on Facebook and different social media platforms, Ryan. But
hi, everyone.
Yeah, you said a lot of good things there, and I think it's not going to take very long for this game to show itself and see an identity of how this could unfold. Again, I think it's paramount for Armstrong to get back to getting out of the gates hot, finding their offense quickly, keeping that offense on the field, and having those long drives. The one thing about Armstrong that's very interesting this season is they can still have long drives despite being that kind of get back up to the line and hike the ball quickly. They can still win those time of possession battles despite being so quick to the line of scrimmage and making that offense move so quickly. So last 2 games, going back to that Aliquippa loss, and then last week a miraculous, I don't want to say miraculous, but it's certainly a very impressive second half by the Riverhawks. They scored 42 unanswered points in that game to go ahead and beat Newcastle. And so I think they didn't really, they didn't take the lead until I think it was about about a minute left, I think, in the second quarter. So again, you spend half the game really just sort of stagnating, and what a better opportunity than here playing your backyard rival at home. A couple weeks into the season, I joked with somebody earlier. I said I don't like that they played in the first week of the season last year because you don't really, you got so much rust that you're trying to work off, and games like this deserve to be played whenever teams, I feel like, are playing at their best. So.
And Freeport had some injuries as well last year. They didn't exactly put their best foot forward as far as that game's concerned. That wasn't the best version of Freeport. Tonight you're going to get the best version of Freeport. And Freeport has a lot of weapons, on the outside. I mean, they can hurt you, not just with Lane, but they can hurt you with Clark, and they can hurt you with the tight end. I think Kaseki's his name. They can hurt you with him. He kind of plays that H-back role. Crony can stretch the field. He has the weapons to stretch the field. And when he's moving to his left, especially being a lefty, when he's moving to his left, he's pretty effective. And when he's in the pocket and he's not pressured, he's pretty effective. So for Freeport early, I think if you're Freeport, I think you come out and you want to get some play action going. Maybe roll him to his left, get him outside the pocket in his comfort zone where he can run or throw. Get him throwing some kind of on-time throws to the sideline, some safer passes to get him into rhythm early. I think that's going to be super important for Freeport. But, you're going to see a different Freeport team this year. And let's face it, a backyard brawl, I mean, if you're really hustling down 20, you could be from one high school to the other in about 20 minutes.
Well, especially if you're Ryan Sprankle.
Yeah, the Save-On Meat truck has some special powers at times.
It's like Will Ferrell said in Old School, it's not exactly street legal.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we're not gonna say how quickly you made it to the first game of the season.
But there's going to be, there's a ton of connectivity here amongst these two teams. There's people that have family members on both sides of the line. I mean, they share a lot of property line. So, you got people that know each other. They've battled each other for years. Their uncle played for Freeport. Their aunt played for Armstrong. I mean, you have a lot of nerves just built in because of the ties in this game. So I think the first team that can kind of roll and get some balance and get a couple solid plays early, it's going to be beneficial. That's the team that's going to settle in and get control of this game early on. The thing I'm looking for, though, is Armstrong being the bigger school and Armstrong being a very physical team. Last year, I think if you're a Freeport fan or an Armstrong fan, I mean, Freeport got beat up in that game. They got beat up. They got handled. So they're going to have – they were thinking about that all season. I guarantee you, every time they were in the weight room, every time they were doing any kind of repetitions, they were thinking about that. So I'm sure you're going to see a much better conditioned Freeport team, a much stronger Freeport team. You're definitely going to see all their athletes are on the field tonight. But the thing is, Armstrong's a very physical team. They went toe-to-toe with Aliquippa, and in that fourth quarter, Aliquippa was the ones laying on the field. Mm-hmm. Armstrong can go toe-to-toe physically with any team. They've proven that. So for Freeport, can they match that intensity? Can they match that physicality for 4 quarters? I think that's going to be a big determination on whether or not they can stay in the game as an underdog, as a smaller school, even though they're 3-0. I think everybody would agree they're probably a slight underdog in this game just because smaller school. Armstrong's only lost 1 game to a state champion 4A team that Whippy was trying to force to a 5A team. Can they match the physicality for 4 quarters? That'll be a big part of this.
You sound like somebody who did their research today. You texted me. I had to say this. You're like, I watched a couple games today, and I'm thinking, now that I'm hearing you, I'm like, a couple games? Did you watch the all 3 of Freeport's games here?
I did some research. I wanted to do due diligence to all the players tonight and make sure I gave my best effort.
You most certainly did. But, you bring up a really good point there, the very last point. I don't think too many people expected this front 7 for Armstrong to be quite as good as it's been. I mentioned during last week's broadcast that, there's some guys, and there's one actually in the booth with us right now, and Nate Bailey. There's some bigger guys in past years than Levi Butlers of the world and so on and so forth. And, formidable, and you kind of knew it when you saw them. But these guys maybe a little more undersized, but make up for it with their heart and sort of their drive. And that's, I think, just a neat facet of this team, because I think it was maybe the biggest question mark coming into the season. What were some of those guys up front, both on the offensive line and the defensive line? How were they going to perform? How are they going to play against, like you said, 4A competition where, those are bigger guys too?
Armstrong, they don't have the size necessarily, but out of the front 7 of Armstrong on defense, 4 of the front 7 squat over 450 pounds. So, for a defense, for a high school defense, especially a 4A high school defense that's, it's not a prep school, having 4 guys out of your front 7 that can squat 450 pounds, I mean, that's moving some serious weight. So that's why you're seeing the front four, the front five, depending on whether they go odd or even up front. That's why you're seeing Armstrong get a push. That's why you're seeing some of these plays where they're taking on blocks, they're tying up blocks and making plays because they're just so powerful underneath that they're able to defeat the bigger man because they got that center of gravity to the ground and all that ground force coming up. And especially after 3 quarters, you got a guy that can squat 450 pounds hitting you in the knees for 3 quarters. It wears you out, and that's what we saw against Aliquippa. That's what we saw against Newcastle. It's been the same thing. So for Freeport, you got to play low, you got to play physical, and you got to try to match that intensity.
And that right there, folks, is information you'll only hear on High Top Sports Network. How much the offensive line and defensive line can squat. That's something I did not know. So thank you, Ryan, for that. But yeah, it's very interesting. That's a good point, too. With just the center of gravity, there's some guys, maybe not the tallest, but some strong legs, and they can move a pile. As you said earlier, you saw it against Aliquippa. Even early on, before Aliquippa really started getting tired and wearing down and getting the cramps that were very evident late in that game, they were still doing damage at the point of attack, I guess you could say. And I expect that to continue here tonight against the neighboring Yellowjackets.
Yeah, one thing I think if you're Freeport early on, I don't think you're going to find a lot between the tackles. I think it's going to have to come on counters and traps where you kind of start, you bump it on the C gap, and then you bump it outside. I think they're going to have to try to do that and try to use their athleticism at receiver, Stuyvesant, Lane, Clark. I think they're going to have to make sure that they get bodies on Jack Balasek and on Ian Olsen and try to bounce something outside, get bodies on the corners, and try to get some big plays up the sidelines because inside it's going to be awful tough, especially with a guy, Dozik Zablocki, in the middle. I mean, if you do get through the front four, he's not going to welcome you like grandma when you were 5 years old at Christmas Eve. He's gonna greet you. So after a couple of his greetings, you're not going to want to go up the middle too much. So I think they're going to have to try to work plays where they kind of create some misdirection, get the defense shifting one way, get the ball going the other way, start the C gap, start the B gap, and then hard cuts bounce outside. And they're going to have to try to get position on Olsen and Valasek on the outside. They're going to have to get bodies on them to try to create the big plays on the outside. And if they're able to do that, then all of a sudden the passing game, the rollouts off of that action are going to open up, and they could have some success against Armstrong. But I don't think you're going to see it up the middle. I think if they're going to get any kind of consistent offense against Armstrong, it's going to have to come bouncing runs outside, misdirections outside, ends around outside. I think a lot of your throws are going to be outside, the hash marks as well, if you're Freeport.
So Armstrong will kick off first to the Yellowjackets. I believe they won the coin toss and chose to defer, if I'm not mistaken there, Ryan.
And if you're Armstrong right now, I'm sure all week, well, I know all week, I watched practice a couple of days, and they had a designated yellow jersey with number 2 the whole time. Ben Lane was a focal point. He is a game breaker, one of the biggest game breakers in Western Pennsylvania, maybe the state, and he's in the middle of the field right now. So if you're Armstrong, I'm sure that they've been coached. Do not give him an opportunity. Kick away. And that's exactly what you saw. He kicked away to the right. Ben Lane's a blocker. That's what you want.
Yep, and that's going to actually be a nice little return out past the 35, past the 40, little juke, but then hit on that far sideline around the 46-yard line. Clark, I believe, was the return man there, still able to turn it into a nice starting field position for the Yellowjackets, who will be moving from our left to right.
And anybody that says the soccer players aren't physical need to watch Michael Reed on that play. Kick the ball off, good angled kick, and then track the play. I mean, you can tell he wanted the contact. He ended up providing the finishing tackle on that play. It was a good tackle, good kick and tackle that time by Michael Reed.
Yeah, he kind of launched himself into him.
He definitely wasn't in a defensive position there.
Not afraid of success, as they say.
No.
So the Yellowjackets game will begin with the football, number 4 under center. That, of course, is Crony. Crony has a man motion passing. The lefty throws across the middle of the field and just outside the hands of the cutting receiver. That, I believe, was number 5, if I'm not mistaken there, Ryan.
Stuyvesant.
Yep, Brady Stuyvesant.
And I'll tell you what, that's a prime example. Early nerves maybe, but Crony had his man. That was a beautiful in cut by Stuyvesant. He had separation, and Crony was just a little outside of him, just enough. If he puts it on him, that's a touchdown. So if you're Freeport, those are the plays that if they're gonna pull this off tonight, they gotta hit those plays. Crony has to step into that ball, and he's got to put it on him. 2nd
down and 10, 4 receivers. A man in motion outside. It's going to be throw out in the flat. Too lame, but wrapped up quickly and thrown down by Isaiah Brown. Great tackle in open space there by the lengthy Riverhawks cornerback.
I'll tell you what, Joe, that was a phenomenal play by Brown. He did a great job of keeping outside position on the defense, on the offense. They had a pulling guard that time. He did a great job of keeping that outside, that left arm free, and pursuing the ball. And then he ended up making the play. A lot of times guys will do that and stretch it out, and the corner comes up or another linebacker comes up and cleans up. But Brown, he just decided to take matters in his own hands there. That was a great opening play for him.
I always like to see guys like Isaiah Brown and Ben Lane match up one-on-one in open space, see who wins that battle. And that time it was Brown.
Decisively.
So a 3rd down and 16. Rolling out to his left is Crone. He's going to throw on the run. This one's going to be almost picked off and then almost caught. It is caught. It looked like it went off the hands of... I believe that was Connor Jacobs, excuse me.
Well, that was that. I'll tell you what, if you're Crony, you're lucky you get that one back. That actually opened up nicely. That was a good play call, I thought. Rolling him out to his strong side. He's a lefty. Rolling him out to that left, giving him one or two guys to think about. He made the right read, but again, just a little off. He just threw it a little inside of the receiver, and that allowed Jacobs to come over and make the play. And he's lucky Jacobs didn't catch the ball because he was right there in position to do so.
Nearly a blocked punt there, and you mentioned Jacobs had a big pick last week, picked off the Hurricanes in that game at the 50-yard line and brought it down to the opposing 25 and set the Riverhawks up in nice position offensively, almost doing the same there. But
well, Jacobs is one of the keys to the defense, and the reason for that is he's a wrestler. He's a great tackler, but he's also he's one of those guys. He's like the Hines Ward. He's got a little attitude, you know. He's going to talk some trash out there, and he's not afraid to get in somebody's face. But he's also super strong and super athletic for a guy his size. So, you know, that's why you're seeing these plays. I think when these quarterbacks go back, they think the guy's open. They think they have a lot more room to work with. They don't think he's going to close like he does. But he really has the speed of most defensive backs.
So the Riverhawks pinned near the goal line. Olsen takes that snap at the goal line. Then he's going to pitch it outside, a little option play. And there's the general, as he's known in these parts. It's taken down, a good tackle there, going low. Or excuse me, that was not the general. That was number 1. That was instead Kai and Klein. That 7 and 1 can sometimes look similar, but.
And I like that play call early. Get Olsen out of the pocket, get him on an option play, get him into a rhythm early. I like that.
Another draw here. This time I do believe it is to the aforementioned general, Alex Patton. Armstrong quickly back up the line as we've seen often this season, Ryan. Here with a 3rd and 3. Riverhawks not wasting any time. One receiver to the top of your screen there, and then it looked like.
Oh, that was a great job by Caden. Great job by Olsen, mixing up the cadence, getting them to jump. That's a crafty veteran play. Third and short, you tell your guys, don't jump, don't jump, don't jump. And then you go up on the line, you tell them one more time on the way to the line, and you do a hard 2, and you get your first down. That was a good job of discipline on Armstrong's part, and Olsen recognizing the defense is going to be looking to make a play.
One of the benefits of not just having a quarterback who can throw the football well, but he's intelligent, and right there, getting the first down without having to use his arm. And here's a ball thrown, just a bit underthrown to Kai and Klein. Give credit, though, to number 44. That, of course, was Cyprian Sellinger, able to get a hand in between the intended target. So,
and I'm interested, Joe, in that play, in that decision by Olsen to go for that. He did have him. It would have taken a great throw. But right now, Freeport's coming out in the same defense that Aliquippa came out in. It's 2-man. For those of you at home that don't know what 2-man is, you got 2 safeties. They have eyes in the backfield, eyes on the quarterback. They're too deep. Everybody else is man-to-man.
Olsen's going to keep this one, but brought down quickly. I think he had the option of giving it to the back, but instead keeps it and it's maybe, well, actually that's going to be a loss of 2. So a 3rd and 12 here for the Riverhawks, not wasting any time again. Same formation you saw on their previous 3rd down. 3 receivers to the bottom of the screen. He's going to look that direction, throw it outside to Brown high, and Brown's able to bring it in. Gets past the first tackler, past the second tackler, past the third, and brought down at the 42-yard line. Isaiah Brown breaking 3 tackles on his way to a first down.
And that was a great play, Joe. Great job by Brown and Olsen being on the same page. They read there was a lot of cushion on that outside, so Brown stopped the route. Olsen put it to him on time, enabled him to get the ball and make a play.
There's going to be a run play. Olsen's going to keep it, following the blocker and using a little bit of shiftiness and a spin move at the end to bring it down into Freeport territory. Let's say the 47-yard line here. Another fresh set of downs. Oh, maybe not.
I think it's just short.
Just short.
One of the benefits of the two-man defense that they're playing is you don't give up too many big plays, but one of the downsides is you have all your guys in man-to-man coverage, so their eyes are on the receiver, their eyes are in the backfield. So if you have a quarterback that can run, that quarterback can get lost and get big chunks.
Well said, Ryan. There's going to be a handoff to the general. He beats one guy past another, and the Riverhawks making Yellowjackets tacklers miss right now here on this impressive drive that's not really eating up too much time, but eating up lots of yardage.
And actually, this drive's playing out the way that this defense and offense is designed it to play out. The defense, that when you play two-man, you're playing for a big play. You're playing for a penalty, some kind of game-changing penalty or some kind of turnover. You're just trying to make them work their way down the field. And on offense, you got to be patient against this defense and continue to take what they give you, take the running plays, take the small throws.
Fakes the handoff, little throw outside to Ian Olsen, a little curl inside, and able to pick up, let's say, about 11. So another fresh set of downs for the Riverhawks. A nice drawn-up play there by Frank Fabian, the Armstrong offense.
And once again, you know, that's exactly what this creates, this kind of a matchup. It's a chess game. You know, Freeport's trying to just make Armstrong make one bad throw, make one turnover, make them earn their way down the field.
Olsen's going to go long on this one. He's a shot and just able to get a hand in there is the aforementioned Sellinger, who made a nice defensive play earlier in this drive and able to get a hand in between the intended target, Isaiah Brown.
And again, they'll make this adjustment, but against that two-man, the opening is in the middle of the field. It's not on the hash. So you're going to see as it goes on, I'm sure they're going to coach them up to the receivers to work their way more inward, more toward the middle. Give Olsen more of a window to throw. They're not giving them too much of an opening to throw. Their safeties are back there. That was a great play by Sellinger.
Riverhawks just outside of the Ryan Bowser State Farm red zone. 7:38 left here in the first quarter of play, and Laundry on the field. A false start will be the call. So push the Riverhawks back 5 more yards and bring up
that's what you can't do, Joe, against two men. You can't create long situations against two men. That defense is designed for that. You can't give them any kind of free plays like that.
Especially when you start getting deeper in their territory as well, where just the open space is far less the deeper you get in it. So now the Riverhawks will have to battle back and be a 2nd and 15. Olsen's going to look to the left. He's going to throw another ball almost in that same spot as he did before. Sellinger, again, the man to get in between the pass.
They must be disguising their coverages at the line there because Caden Olsen is one of the best in the business at reading defenses. And against that two-man, where that safety is located, you can't throw the hashes. You have to work it toward the middle. So it could be an issue where the receivers aren't working their routes inside enough, breaking inside. The hole is in the deep middle of the field, 12 to 15 yards, and they're trying to throw almost right at the defense right now.
Yeah, interesting that he's thrown that same ball, and he's going to look almost in that same direction, but the pressure, he's able to step up and get through it and then try to find Ian Olsen just outside of his outstretched hands, and it'll bring up a 4th and 15.
I'll tell you, I think Crony got away with a hold there. That being said, great job by Olsen that time. I mean, those guys had him dead to rights, and he did a great job of using his footwork in the pocket, eluding the rush, using his frame to get away from him, kept his eyes downfield, and actually he made a pretty good attempt at it. I thought Freeport got away with a hold there.
So the Riverhawks will opt to go for it. 6:56 left in the first quarter, and so deep in Freeport territory, you might as well. Here's a throw as he's hit. Able to bring it in is Valasek. Nice job on the bobble, bring it in, but not enough for the first down. So give credit to Freeport. You mentioned it, Ryan. You get that false start on first down, push them back, and really everything kind of downhill from there.
That's the way those defenses are designed. They started doing that a few years back against Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, just playing that blanket, those two high safeties, making you work 15 to 18 play drives down the field without making a mistake, and that's very hard to do. That time, the receiver, Klein, he broke to the middle, and I think there was some late pressure, and Olsen missed him. But I think you're going to see Armstrong make adjustments, have those receivers cut those routes more to the middle of the field where the openings are.
First play of the Freeport drive, their second drive of the game, and nice little run outside.
And that time we talked about Sellinger that time on the outside. Did a great job. We talked about it in the pregame. the importance of getting bodies on those corners so that when you can bounce those runs outside, you have a body on the corner, you can get those extra yards. That time Sellinger squared up Olsen nicely out there, pushed him downfield a little bit, and as a result, they were able to get a nice gain on first down.
Yeah, Sellinger's number getting called often here in this first quarter, both on the offensive and defensive side. So second down, Crony's going to throw to the near side, but well over the intended target.
And looking at game film, that's been the troubled spot for them throwing the ball. Actually, that time they had Zach Clark in there throwing the ball. And but the right side has been a weakness of them throwing the ball this season. They just haven't been able to deliver the ball with a lot of accuracy to that right side. Right there, they had a receiver open. Could have had some nice yards after the catch. That was a missed opportunity for Freeport.
So a big third down here. Freeport ball spotted at their own 24-yard line, 6 yards to go. 6:40 remaining in the first quarter. Crony in the gun. Man in motion is Lane. He looks that way and said he's going to throw for the slant. And that's going to be enough for the first down. Give credit to the Freeport quarterback there, Crony. I think he drew all the attention over to Lane out in the flat. Instead goes for the man across the middle.
Crony, that was good offense all along. They had a great pocket for Crony. Crony did a nice job of moving his eyes from the primary target to the secondary target. He had the defense moving with his eyes. He came back to the middle, and they gave him a nice clean pocket. And when they give him a nice clean pocket this year, he's been able to deliver a good, consistent ball. That was right on the numbers to Kentucky.
So a fresh set of downs. Instead of having to punt deep in their own territory, Freeport will continue on. 2 receivers at the top of the screen. Here's a pitch outside to Ben Lane. He's going to cut it back to the middle. What nifty moves he has. There's that big playability we talked about, and he is off to the races. Ben Lane, 4-6.
Touchdown, Freeport, number
69 yards for Ben Lane. Patered for the Yellowjackets.
And I guarantee you last night when Frank Fabian went to bed, if he had any nightmares, that was his nightmare. They had a play outside, which in my opinion is where they can get their plays tonight. We talked about it in the pregame. That's where they can expose Armstrong. They were able to get bodies. They were able to get linemen downfield on the defensive backs. Number 70 was down there. Peyton Westendorf was down there. He got a body on the strong safety. You had a body on Olsen on the outside. They did a great job at creating that lane, and they gave Ben Lane just enough to bounce it outside, and then he used his athleticism to cut back inside. And once you give Ben Lane an opening, there's not a guy on this field, on many fields in Western Pennsylvania, they're going to be able to track him down. So, that was absolutely your worst nightmare if you're Armstrong. And if you're Freeport, that's exactly what you want all game long. You want to get the ball outside to your playmakers. You want to get bodies on the defensive backs and give them some room to operate. And that couldn't be a better start for Freeport. You made Armstrong work the whole way down the field. They ended up stalling. You get a big play. I think it's like Frazier and Ali in the late 70s. Ali's the puncher, Ali's the boxer, and then Frazier just kind of stays in it, looks for the big haymakers once in a while, and that's exactly what you saw there. Freeport, just bodying up, taking the shots down the field. Then they get the ball, and boom, big haymaker. They knocked Armstrong down with that one.
And the extra point through, would like to mention that was the UFP Parker extra point. UFP Parker, a place to find a career, not just a job. Make sure you check them out online today at ufpi.com/careers. So the Yellowjackets striking first, and we talked about that big playability and how dangerous Ben Lane can be in terms of changing the look of a game. And right there, a 69-yard play for the Freeport standout.
And something, if you're at home, something to watch as this game goes on, especially if it's a tight game, is the kicking game. Both of these high schools have kickers that are way above average. Freeport's kicker, especially Wetzel, he's an amazing kicker. Indeed. I mean, he made that extra point with ease with about 20 yards to spare, and he just put the ball 2 yards deep in the end zone on the kickoff. And with Michael Reed on Armstrong's side, he's a very consistent kicker as well. So the kicking game, as this game goes on, if it stays tight, could become a factor.
So the Riverhawks will take the first snap of this drive from the 15. A little pitch outside like they started that previous drive. But the ball's out, and the Yellowjackets fall on top of it. A fumble on the first play of the drive, just like they had last week at Newcastle, and the ball back over to the Yellowjackets at the Armstrong 25.
Well, I thought that was an interesting shift in strategy on Freeport's side. They went away from that two-man. They brought an extra guy up on the line, created what you call an odd front. And an odd front sometimes can give you that free guy into the backfield, give you a chance to hit the runner where he's not expecting it down the line. And that's exactly what happened. That odd front created the extra man. The extra man trailed the play, made the hit from an awkward position. The running back wasn't expecting it, and you get a turnover. That was a good coaching, good strategy on Freeport's part.
So up 7-0, and already in Armstrong territory for their first snap. The Yellowjackets, a little end around here to Stuyvesant. He's going to have an opening. Little chance in open space there, but a flag thrown. It looks like it's going to be brought back. I want to say that's going to go against number 64, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but Jacob Bollinger, I think, will be the man flagged there for holding.
And again, Joe, you saw Freeport get that's their goal. That's what they want to get. They want to create some misdirection. They want to use the misdirection almost as another blocker out there. Get the defense going one way, come back the other way. They want to get bodies downfield, which they did, but at that time, one of the boys just got a little extra aggressive and had the penalty.
So a first and, I'm sorry. The ball spotted at the 23, 5:24 left. Again, not another good start for the Riverhawks here. You had a drive that was looking great, kind of stalled because of a penalty, and then a turnover in the first play of the ensuing offensive possession. Here's a chance now for Lane coming off that long touchdown run, and how quickly he can get that corner. He's going to be brought down, but maybe a horse collar.
Now that time, Joe, Freeport did a good job of adjusting from the last play. The last time they tried that play against Brown, they didn't get square on him, and they allowed him to have that left arm free, allowed him that outside positioning. This time they did a better job of squaring up on him, not allowing him to get that outside positioning, and it gave Ben Lane just enough of a corner where he's able to get upfield and get some some steam in the open field.
You see how quickly he can get the corner there, and it really shows just how fast he is. He's going to take a breather there, kind of brought down awkwardly by the Riverhawks' leading tackler, Dosic Zablocki. But a first and goal to go, 4:40 left here in the first quarter. The Yellowjackets threatening once again after putting 7 on the board on a 69-yard run by Ben Lane, but smacked there by Isaiah Brown, met at the point of contact. And Brown, another nice defensive play here in this first quarter.
Well, I'm sure Brown didn't like the play before, getting kind of controlled by Freeport's blockers. That play, he came out like an unstoppable force, exploded through, and just made a great play. But you saw Armstrong that time. They were man-to-man defense, and they were loaded up against the run. And I'm telling you, Freeport, that was an inside the tackles run. And it's going to be awful tough to run inside the tackles against Armstrong with as much strength as they have inside. I mean, you got to show it once in a while, but that's just going to be tough sledding in there. It was a great individual play and team play by Armstrong and Brown.
2nd down and 9. Crony remains in the gun. Man in motion over there. Another throw out to that man in motion in open space. He's going to get the corner, but wrapped up by the opposing number 1. That was Kai Klein with the tackle on the reception of Zach Clark. So nice job in open space there by the Riverhawks to limit the damage. It'll bring up 3rd down.
And Kai Klein isn't the fastest guy on the field, but what he has is good football instincts and speed, and his angles have been great since he was 6 years old. And that time, just took a perfect angle, anticipated where the ball was going to be, came up, and he's a short tackler. He made a great open field tackle there.
A guy that gets that kind of reputation, not very different body type than Kai Klein, but Levon Kirkland, a 270-pound middle linebacker, who wasn't the fastest guy, but credited for having just a nose for the football and finding the correct path to that football. And that's kind of what you described there with Kai Klein. Two very different looking players.
Very similar, though. They're both kind of playing. Kai Klein could definitely play linebacker with his body size. He's definitely a bigger free safety than most, but he just showed you why he's the free safety, because he can track a play. He's fast enough to cover receivers one-on-one, and I can tell you he can hit people.
And we want to take a moment here while the timeout takes place to thank tonight's title sponsor and broadcast partner, the Richard G. Snyder YMCA. If you're an athlete looking for the best in personalized training to help you dominate your sport, look no further than the Richard G. Snyder YMCA in Katanning. The Y offers advanced equipment and techniques to help you reach the top of your game. Check out the newly remodeled annex, complete with turf, a golf simulator that features some of the best courses in the world like Pebble Beach, St. Andrews, and plenty more, including their new equipment, which will help you maximize your potential and reach your fitness goals. The Y offers programs for all ages as well as several youth programs and swimming lessons. Check out their virtual fitness portal at rgsymca.org or give them a call at 724-545-9622. Ryan Sprankle, have you tried out the golf simulator yet?
You know, I feel it's kind of crazy that I haven't, but I haven't. I'm definitely, once winter comes, I'm definitely probably going to have a couple get-togethers there and take advantage of that, because that's a great resource to have in our area, not having to travel to be able to play golf like that.
Not have to go too far to play Pebble Beach.
Yeah. Yeah, you save about $8 grand.
What a tough pass there by Crony. Somehow Lane comes up with it. He cuts to the middle, jukes a little bit, and then is going to be brought down at the 4-yard line. He threw that into some crazy traffic. The window that went through, because I had a really good angle at it, basically directly behind it, and he snuck that in front of a defender, and Lane trying to basically bring that the whole way across the field, but the Armstrong defense too good. And a 4th down and 4 to go with 2:32 will bring the Freeport special teams unit on for what should be a chip shot field goal for the aforementioned Isaac Wetzel.
That was a great defensive scheme by Armstrong that time. They had it totally eaten up. Crony did an excellent job of just creating enough time to find Lane, and then Lane was one tackle away from scoring.
And that one's blocked. There's a chance here for the Riverhawks. It's going to be picked up by, I believe, Jacobs, and he's wrapped up and brought down, so not able to return it for 2 points, but that could loom large later in this game. It's just a 13-point Freeport lead instead of a 14-point advantage.
Well, we talked about the special teams. We talked about the kicking game being a key part of this game. And, you know, that's one of the strengths of Freeport's game is their kicking game. That time Armstrong was able to get a man through, was able to block the kick, and Jacobs did a nice job of scooping it up. You know, he showed his aggressiveness. A lot of guys would have fallen on it. He was looking to score there. And if he had picked it up with another step, he might have done that.
So now Armstrong with the football now, fakes the handoff and then a throw in the slot, and keeping those legs moving. An impressive job there to move 3 Yellowjackets with him was number 10. That was Joe Bartolowicz. We've seen him make a couple nice catches here in the early stages of the season.
Bartolowicz is like that Trevor Edelman mold. He's kind of small, but he's strong. He's got good hands, good instinct.
And here's a big hole up the middle. The General's going to rumble and stumble down to the Freeport 20-yard line. A huge hole in the middle of the field there, and the General just following the parting of the Red Sea there for a big gain.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The General moved the front that time. That was a huge hole up the middle, and he took full advantage of it.
He's going to take another one up the middle, this time wrapped up by number 10. That was Brady Sullivan.
And I like what Armstrong's done, Joe. They're playing to the defense. They're in that 2-man. They're back there. What's there? Short, quick passes. Quick passes, try to create a broken tackle after the pass, runs up the middle, counters up the middle. They're not going to be as strong because the defenders are all looking at the receiver. So if you can get past that first line of defense, you're going to have big openings. That's exactly what you've seen.
I'm wondering if that was Jacobs who got a hand on that blocked field goal, but that was huge too, because obviously a 2-possession lead's better than a 1, but again, if you can keep putting points on the scoreboard early on against this Armstrong team, that's probably the best way to really seize momentum and put the Riverhawks up against the 8 ball, I guess you could say.
And here again, they get inside the 20 and they have another penalty. Let's see if they can overcome the penalty this time.
Going to be a 1st and 15, 1:17 left in this first quarter. Armstrong yet to get on the scoreboard. This Freeport team allowing just 10 points per game, but Caden Olson throwing a stiff arm there, but then wrapped up by a pair of Yellowjackets around the 15-yard line as the clock is about to hit the 1-minute mark here in quarter number 1.
And if you're a high school defense, you're not expecting when the quarterback breaks through to have to bring down a 6'5", 220-pound quarterback.
Basically NFL-sized. Here's a big hole up the middle, and Chrisman will score for the Riverhawks. That middle of the field, you mentioned it early on, this defense will maybe leave that area susceptible, and the Riverhawks taking advantage of it on this drive. 2 big run plays. helped the Riverhawks put 6 on the board. Now they're an extra point away from tying this one up.
You're seeing the chess match play out. Fabian's one of the best offensive minds in Western PA, and you just saw an adjustment there. The middle of the field against that 2-man, especially when they have it flexed out the way they have a couple times, the middle of that field is where the weakness is. And if you're Armstrong, you just want to live there. You want all your routes to break there. You want to run the ball there. You want to pound that middle of the field and force them out of that defense.
So the opportunity to tie it up is good by number 23, Hunter Reed, the sophomore. So we are all knotted up at 7 apiece with 47 seconds left. I mentioned there on that drive, Ryan, that Freeport just allowing just 10 points per game here in the early going. And they're averaging about 21. I think it's 42 a game, if I'm not mistaken. So that's 21 and even just the first half. So, you know, you've got to find a way defensively to maybe prevent them from getting so deep. You're pretty lucky that you got out of that last drive of the blocked field goal. That could have been 7, considering where the Yellowjackets took over from. So,
well, if you're Freeport, that's a concerning drive there. And the reason it's a concerning drive is you got blown off the ball on every running play there, except for one. You got totally blown off the ball. So, you know, is the physicality of Armstrong that we talked about in the pregame that matched and arguably outmatched Aliquippa, is that physicality already starting to take its toll on that Freeport defensive line?
So the Riverhawks will kick off. That'll be Reed to do the duties for the Riverhawks.
And once again, if you're Freeport, you want to do everything you can on this kick to get Ben Lane the ball.
And this one to Lane. Lane's able to get it, but there's a flag back around the 40-yard line. Lane able to bring that one into Armstrong territory. Let's see what this one is. It looks like it's going to go against the Yellowjackets.
Boy, Armstrong's very fortunate there. There's no way. I would find it super hard to believe that there was any portion of the play call that said kick it to Ben Lane. And somehow the ball ended up in Ben Lane's hands, and he was, again, one tackle away from a touchdown. He had the ball across midfield, but got bailed out by a low block by Freeport. Crushing penalty for Freeport. Now, all of a sudden, instead of having the ball at midfield, you got to work 75, 80 yards down the field.
And, every time that Ben Lane touches the football and is able to rip off a chunk of yards like that, that's just more confidence, I think, for that young man.
If I was Hooks and I was devising a scheme to stop Lane, I'd say my number one priority would be the number 20. You want him to touch the ball less than 20 times in this game.
So it'll be Croney in the shotgun as he's been for most of the night here thus far. I can't think of a snap he took under center at all yet so far, Ryan.
No, I don't think you're going to see a snap under center.
The rare lefty quarterback. Going to get a little pitch outside to number 1. I believe Stuyvesant, if I'm not mistaken, is Zach Clark, excuse me.
That was an interesting call, Joe, by Freeport that time. Normally you don't run the option. One of the benefits of the option is being able to extend the play, having a lot of room to work with, making the defense operate and cover a large portion of ground. That time they ran the option to the short side of the field. You almost wonder if there was a cross up in the play coming in. I noticed that they don't call the plays. They don't use signals. They run people in most of the time. You got to wonder if they said the wrong direction, because normally you don't see an option to the field side.
So the clock down to 32 seconds.
Or the boundary side, excuse me.
Joe Rhodes, Ryan Sprankle here in the Schaefer's HVAC booth here at Armstrong Junior Senior High School. The waning moments of the first quarter upon us. The game tied at 7. Armstrong striking first, or excuse me, Freeport striking first, but Armstrong striking back. Here's a throw, and under throwing was Croney, wide open down the middle of the field was number 5, Brady Stuyvesant. If he is able to connect on that, that is 6 points, Ryan.
And that, again, that's something that we picked up this week watching the film. Croney has a lot of comfort throwing to his left side. He can throw very accurately, deep, short, and in between. His struggle has been driving the ball down the seams and down the sideline toward the right side. For a lefty, that's the hardest throw you can make. And that time, again, he tried to throw it down the seam. He had a man by about 3 steps, just wasn't able to connect. If he's able to correct that, Freeport could become a very dangerous team very quickly.
Just a quick score out there for everybody at the end of the first quarter. West Shamokin leading 14-7 over Homer Center as this pass is knocked down. Your out-of-town scores today presented by Armstrong Indoor Athletics. May not be baseball or softball season, but it never stops at Armstrong Indoor Athletics. Give them a call now. Batting cages, pitching lessons from the best over there at AIA in Katanning.
And what a play by McNeely that time. Freeport was trying to set up a screen. They had it set up. They had it set up nicely. McNeely did a good job of staying disciplined, not leaving his feet, not getting too anxious, and waiting and timing up the throw very, very well. One difference between Caden Olson and Gavin Croney is size. You got Caden Olson at 6'5", Gavin Croney at 5'10". 5'10", it's a lot harder to get the ball over top of those defensive linemen. You have to be very crafty in how you do that. It's sometimes very difficult. So that time, I think Armstrong took advantage of that.
Jackson Chrisman feeling the pressure on that one. Threw a very quick fair catch sign. He goes, kind of, it's one of these. Just saw the pressure bearing down on him, and I don't think he realized how quickly they were coming for him. But Armstrong will have a snap here, at least one, before the end of the first quarter. This first quarter presented by Des Moines Chiropractic in Manor Township. 3 generations worth of chiropractic care right here in your backyard. Give Dr. Justin DeMond a call today. We got some exciting giveaways we're going to be doing here with Dr. DeMond, so make sure you pay attention to that. As for this drive for the Riverhawks, it's going to begin at the 30-yard line. Again, that hard snap by Olson does it again. He gets the 4 down linemen of the Yellowjackets almost all jump simultaneously.
And that's what you get when you get a quarterback that has 30-plus starts under him. He understands that the defensive line is going to be looking to get an edge in this game, going to be looking to get into him, and he's using that against them. And good discipline on the part of Armstrong, staying in their stances. That's 2 key penalties that have created opportunities for Armstrong so far. Good job by Olson.
So another hard snap by Olson, able to help the Riverhawks. Here's a shot down the field, and it's brought in by Ian Olson. The flag's not going to matter because I think he caught that. So
I'll tell you what, that was, Joe, that was excellent. Brother to brother that time. They've been doing that in the backyard for probably about almost 20 years. And Gavin Croney had nice coverage on the outside. He was right with Olson going down the field. That was a beautifully placed ball, and it was such a good throw. It actually forced Croney to tackle Olson mid-catch. Good job by Ian Olson of maintaining concentration and coming down with that ball.
And that will be it for the first quarter of play. Armstrong, a nice play to end things in the first quarter as they are driving, but the score all knotted up at 7 apiece here on this Richard G. Snyder YMCA game night on High Top Sports Network. Ryan, I would feel a little dumb doing a Sprankles Neighborhood Market live read. Can you tell us what you guys got going on down at Sprankles Neighborhood Market?
Everybody knows you're going to hashtag save on meat at Sprankles.
Always.
We have some amazing weekend specials this week that you're not even going to see online. You're going to see it online on Facebook, but you're not going to see it on any ads. We have chuck roast, certified Angus beef, melt in your mouth chuck roast. I mean, you get up in the morning right now, it's brisk out. It is roast season, and you can get chuck roast right now. Beautiful chuck roast for $4.98 a pound. And if you like the steaks, $4.98 a pound for that too. We also have baby back ribs, are only $3.98 a pound, and they are gorgeous. They're going to melt in your mouth. So make sure you come in the stores this weekend. Make sure you take advantage of those great deals. Like my dad always says, if you go anywhere else and spend money on meat, you're going to be paying too much money. So come and see us. We're going to treat you right. We have the friendliest crew in the world, the greatest crew in the world, and they're going to make sure you get what you need.
Well said, Ryan. I was actually craving, you're talking about all these stick to the rib type meats right there. I was actually craving sushi today, thinking I was going to stop down and get some sushi. But
Chef Paul's got that going too, and Chef Long in Saxonburg.
Yeah, it's not Wednesday, but sometimes you just you get the hankering, you got to go regardless. So
it's a good late snack for any time.
So the Riverhawks now will begin with the football in the second quarter. 12 minutes on the clock. Olson, 3 receivers to the top of your screen, 1 at the bottom. That's his brother Ian Olson. Now in motion is the general, Alex Patton. He's going to fake the handoff, throw over to Ian. A little curl right there, past the blockers. Well blocked. He has a chance here if he can get the corner. He is in. 4-6. Another well-designed play by the Riverhawks for the touchdown.
Ian Olson, I've always said, has sneaky speed, and he showed it there. He kind of lingered, kind of crept in, set up the play, allowed the blocks to set up on the outside. Caden Olson did a nice job of looking away, coming back to his brother, And then Ian does a good job. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he goes from gear to gear very quickly, and that's what he did. He went gear to gear. And the thing I like about Ian Olson, he's got a little attitude. The end of that run in the end zone, he didn't just run into the end zone. He lowered his shoulder 3 yards deep and said, I'm here. I'm going to be here all day. That's the beauty of Ian Olson right there.
Yeah, I like that route combination right there. Kind of come back to it, curl, let those blockers kind of get outside, and give credit to those blockers for having the speed to get over there. And it looks like the bug zapper is working over there, Ryan. Oh my goodness.
The student section.
Wow.
I got to shout out my daughter, Cameron Franco. She's the leader of the Armstrong Armada, they call themselves. And they came up with a cool strategy tonight. They have, Freeport's the Yellowjackets, and they're all dressed in black, and they have a huge 8-foot-tall bug zapper.
I can actually get this in the shot here. I got to now.
Huge 8-foot-tall bug zapper.
Look at this, Ryan. Yeah, look at this.
And they all are armed with black spray-painted fly swatters. It's pretty impressive scene down there in the Armstrong student
That's
section.
incredible.
Shout out to Cam. Great job.
And fly swatters, too.
And fly swatters. Yeah, the fly swatters, they really set it off nicely.
So the Riverhawks now will kick off to the Yellowjackets, who seem to have the momentum in the early stage of that first quarter, getting that big 69-yard touchdown from Ben Lane, but really ever since the Armstrong mounting what has been an impressive little bounce back.
I was going to say, Joe, for all you young receivers out there looking to learn how to run a slip screen, that is exactly how you do it. Most receivers are too quick to get into position. That time Olson was very patient, slithered in behind the blocks, and did a nice job of creating that lane.
Kickoff here, and Stuyvesant's going to cut across the field, but be brought down at the 39-yard line. Not terrible field position and starting position for the Yellowjackets here. And while we have an opportunity, I want to thank another one of our great sponsors, a guy who's been with us from the beginning, and that's Dr. Ryan Olson right there in West Katanning. Dr. Olson, a big-time supporter of us in the winter and falls here, and really certainly appreciate his support as Caden's career slowly winding down as the weeks go on, but a couple more years left to watch Ian, and there's plenty more Olsons coming after that. So
a lot of Olsons, yes,
a whole lot of Olsons.
And this is a very important drive for the Yellowjackets and for Crony. You're up 7-0. Now you're down 14-7 on the road, and all the momentum right now is Armstrong's. I think you got to try to calm this thing down, give your defense a rest. And get a good drive going. Maybe not even score, but just get a good drive going. Get some of the momentum back on your side. I think you gotta, if you're Freeport, you gotta find a way to get Crony settled into this game. Get him some nice, safe completions. Get him in rhythm, so you can become a dual threat offense and have the confidence later on when they're going to need a big throw.
I'm going to update that score for you. I apologize. It's 14-7. The Riverhawks in front, and it's also the second quarter. 10:53 left. You said Crony looking to get something going here. The lefty looking to the outside. That's a good pass right there to Ben Lane. Bounces off the tackler. It was a 2-on-2
Very
matchup.
Nice rhythm throw there, and that's exactly what they got to do. His strength is thrown to the left. He throws very well in rhythm to the left, very accurate. And right there you saw it. He put it right on the numbers, right on target. Got a nice first down gain through the air. Now all of a sudden Armstrong has to think about the pass game a little more. They can't just kind of, key up on those running backs and those slot receivers.
Yellowjackets, as you said, facing a very important kind of part of the game. You saw Armstrong kind of punch back whenever they fell behind early, and if you're a Yellowjackets fan or member of the team, you kind of want to have that same sort of response now here as we hit the 10:44 mark of the second quarter. Snap. Here's a blitz, kind of nothing he could do about that. Jackson Crispin coming through there like he was shot out of a cannon.
I'll tell you, that was a great job by Crony of just getting rid of the ball and getting himself outside of the tackle box where he could throw the ball away without getting penalized. He just saved the offense about 10 yards there because that was a great job of Armstrong of getting early coverage, not giving him anything to look at, and getting that pressure. We call it up the A and B gaps. Getting that pressure in the face of the quarterback, forcing him to be uncomfortable right away. That was a good job defensively by Armstrong, and good job of Crony of saving field position for his team.
Ball at the 45-yard line. 10:37 left.
It's not what you wanted, though, for Freeport. You definitely wanted to get something going. You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of see a fake here. I mean, just to try to steal the momentum a little bit. I'm sure Armstrong's on the lookout for that.
See if Isaac Wetzel can be crafty enough for that here. So Ryan and I here in the Schaefer's HVAC booth watching the second quarter action. That one's going to roll, and then Chrisman's going to dive on it. And
well, you know, that time the Armstrong coaching staff's not going to be very happy with that. We heard last week one of the best to ever do it in the state of Pennsylvania, Zane Dudek. He said you got to catch the ball. You got to catch the ball. And on punts and kicks, on punts especially, obviously on kicks, but on punts, you got to catch the ball, because if you don't come up and make that play and catch the ball, you're costing your team 10, 15 yards of field position. It's exactly what happened there. So I'm sure the coaching staff will address that.
so now the Riverhawks have a 1st and 10, 10-26. Olsen's going to give that one to the General Alex Patton, able to scamper up to about the 26, 27-yard line. We'll say 26 and a half.
And Armstrong doing a good job of staying patient. If they're going to give that to you, you can see the safeties. They're in that two-man, and they're stretched. That middle of the field's wide open. So they're just taking advantage of that. They should just keep pounding the ball to the middle of the field.
Olsen will throw outside, hits Jack Balasek right between the numbers, and he's thrown out of bounds by Ben Lane.
And if you're Freeport, I think you got to make an adjustment at this point. I know you want to avoid the big play. I know you want to keep the all-state quarterback from making downfield throws. But at the same time, you're getting gashed right now. You know, you're getting pretty dominated up front. So you either have to bring another guy up to the line and create an odd front up front, or you got to do something different.
Olsen's going to keep this one, make a man miss. He makes his opposing signal caller miss right there, kind of juking Crony out of the way. And he's not the fastest, but he's got those long strides. And guess what? It doesn't matter. What is the definition of fast? Is it covering one, you know, getting from point A to point B? Because he can get there as quickly as a guy, maybe like a Ben Lane, but his strides are
And that was disheartening
giant.
for Freeport, and that was the underrated portion of Olsen's game. He's known as a thrower. He's known as a classic pocket passer, but he can run and he can create plays with his feet. And that time, Freeport did a nice job of stuffing the middle, but he did a good job of reading the defense and bouncing it outside himself.
And that's going to be a nice run there by the General. Delayed draw. Play we've seen the Riverhawks use a lot this year with Patton.
Yeah, you see Freeport in that four-man front, and four guys they're just not getting it done. They're not creating enough push. They're not creating any push. So they're going to have to make an adjustment and get a fifth man up on that front to try to limit these gaping holes that Armstrong's getting up the middle.
A timeout called here. I thank again our friends at UFP Parker in, of course, Parker, if that wasn't obvious. Here's a chance for the Riverhawks. Throw knocked down. Good pressure there that time by the Yellowjackets to come up with a much-needed stop. Bring up 2nd and long. 8:47 left, second quarter.
That was a great job by Freeport that time. I didn't see who made that deflection, but if you can't get to the quarterback, your next job is to get your hands up and time it up and try to knock down the pass, which is very difficult against a 6'5" quarterback. But that time, Freeport did a nice job of just being aware, keeping their eyes in the backfield, keeping an eye on the quarterback, timing it up nicely, and taking away what would have been a short completion on the sideline.
All right, well, we will take a quick break here at the Freeport timeout here on this Richard G. Snyder YMC game night. For Ryan Sprankle, my name is Joe Rhodes. We'll be right back.
Tonight's presentation of high school football on High Top Sports Network is presented by the Richard G. Snyder YMCA. Principles put into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all.
And welcome back to the Schaefer's HVAC broadcast booth. Ryan Sprankle, the one and only, to my right. Joe Rhodes here, bringing you the call here from Armstrong Stadium. This Richard G. Snyder YMCA game night. There's a big tackle. Getting past that line was...
That was Clark.
Yeah.
What a play by Clark. You know, sometimes the stars of the team just have to make plays. And that time, he did a great job of...
Tonight's presentation of high school football on High Top Sports Network.
Setup there. Olsen had a nice setup there. And I'll tell you, Clark just did a great job of getting through all the mess and just sticking the running back. That was a beautiful play.
And
but
for
then
a
they turn around.
third time.
Oh, it's a killer if you're Freeport. You know, you just had a positive play. You just had what could have been a momentum changing play. And once again, you got to hand it to Armstrong on offense. Olsen's doing a nice job of mixing up his cadence, and the offensive line and receivers are being very disciplined.
That's where Caden Olsen's brain is getting you yardage and not his right arm. This time the right arm might get some yardage. Here's a throw down to Isaiah Brown and lays out for it. Just out of his outstretched hands, or outside of them. Looked like he maybe was contacted at the very end there, but they're going to say that maybe just kind of jousting for position, kind of both guys creating the contact, Ryan.
Well, you know, I can't tell the number. Was that Stuyvesant? Is that number 5? Or is that
right here at the bottom? This is Croney.
That's Croney. That was a great job by Croney because he had contact, but he knew where the ball was, and he was aware of where the ball was. That's why you didn't see a call. And they had the matchup they wanted on the outside. Olsen put a good throw out there, but Croney had just enough contact and was with Brown just enough to keep him from getting to that ball. It was a great job of Croney of just man-to-man island defense out there.
Now the hard snap count by Olsen gets one of his own guys to jump, so the Riverhawks moving back 5 yards here.
And that's I mean, from a quarterback and a coaching standpoint, that is, yeah, I'm frustrated right now for him because I know that feeling. I mean, you know you got them mixed up, and, you know, come on, guys, watch the ball.
Olsen with a punt. He had a really good one a couple weeks ago when we were watching, but that one's going to land in the hands of number 13. That was Madden was Newski, and then people wanting a flag.
You know, I haven't seen a DDT in about 20 years, but that was a DDT, an old school DDT for those WWE fans out there. I think that was Brown. He just lights out there. Totally legal play, nothing malicious about it. Just a very emphatic tackle.
Is that the Ryan go-to move, wrestling?
I don't think I could pull it off, but it had to be a pretty small opponent. But
you seem like a corporate elbow kind of guy.
It's impressive to watch. I'd be more of like a scissor trip kind of guy.
Okay. All right. I see. Is this stuff you're practicing around the house?
Yeah.
So you're like waking cold up and get down here.
Got a new one to try.
The Yellowjackets with the football. 8 minutes exactly left in the first half. Riverhawks leading 14-7. This is going to be Stuyvesant who tries to make a move but swarmed by the Riverhawks.
And good adjustment again by Armstrong. Hooks saw what was happening early on. He saw that his defense was getting kind of gashed on the outside a little bit. So he had the defensive end that time did a much better job of not pursuing directly upfield, but pursuing at angles to the sideline and kind of creating that enclosure to where you contain the running back. You don't allow him to bounce outside. You force him back to where your help is, and the rest of the squad did a nice job of getting some pursuit, getting some pressure, and they just swallowed it up.
I want to remind you folks to stay tuned at halftime for the band performances. Both bands will be on the field for the Richard G. Snyder YMCA halftime show. Croney going to step up in the pocket, maybe take off. Nearly getting a hand on him was Chrisman, and then contacted hard there, but bouncing up quickly was the quarterback.
And that was a nice play again by Croney. And you know, anytime he can get to his left, that's where he's going to hurt you. That's where he's most effective, whether it be throwing the ball or running the ball. When he's moving to his left, that's when he's at his best. So, you know, good job by him of kind of getting there now. Now, if you're the coach, what you want to see from him at that point is not to run, not to commit to the run so quickly. Keep his eyes downfield and try to find that open receiver one more half second.
Kyan Klein shaking up on that play for the Riverhawks. It was a big hit. Sometimes when you lay it, you're almost subjecting yourself even more to the punishment. That time he was on the wrong end of it. Here's Croney throw to that rare right side and making a couple guys miss. is, I believe, was that Sellinger? Nope, that is not. Yeah, it is. It is a guy we mentioned there a lot in the early going. Been kind of quiet ever since. Number 44, Cyprin Sellinger, the junior, 5'10", 144. That can't be right.
And that time, Freeport to the right hasn't been their strength as far as throwing the football, but that time the ball was on time, the ball was thrown very well, and if they can continue to complete passes to that side of the field and open up that side of the field, it's going to make them a lot harder to defend.
A beautiful night for football here. We're getting lucky with the Fridays we've been having. This one thrown.
Wow, what a catch.
No, he didn't bring it down. Lost it at the very. Oh, did he? He did.
No, I think he got it.
Wow, what a catch indeed.
Good
that
concentration there, too.
Yeah, the ball thrown more towards the middle of the field, and the receiver number.
That was Kosecki. We've heard his name a lot so far. And, you know, on film, he's a comfort guy. He's that guy that you go to for those big catches, those short catches. And that time, the ball wasn't necessarily perfectly thrown, but it was thrown on time, gave him a chance to make the play. But he did a great job of leaning into the defender for the catch and absorbing the contact and maintaining possession of the ground.
It should be mentioned, Ben Lane not on the field for the Yellowjackets here. That's why you're not hearing his name. Normally, that one just a wide open player out in the flat. Missing was Crony, but Ryan, I think it's fair to say we would have called Ben Lane's name at least once here on this drive, but it looks like they are without his services at the moment here.
Well, one thing with a player like Lane, you rely on him for so much. And on a night like this, even though it's getting cooler now, earlier on it was warm, the sun was out, and you know you do have cramping come into play, especially with a player that's working that much and that you rely on for as many roles as he plays for this team. I just wonder if cramping or you know some kind of dehydration issue, why he wouldn't be out there right now.
I'm trying to see if I can spot his number on the other side, but I don't. There he is. He's standing up. Looks like he's doing okay. And that one, the receiver not even looking for it. And that one intended for Sellinger, but miscommunication there between he and his left-handed quarterback, Crony.
I'm very surprised that Freeport's continuing to try to go to that right. It's just not a strength of this team at this point. They're just not quite as accurate to that side. They don't have the players to that side. I mean, that is not that is definitely not Kosecki's strength. I would assume outrunning a defender one-on-one down the sideline. He's more of an inside working receiver. You know, I'm shocked that they're not trying to work more to the left because Crony is very comfortable throwing to the left. He looks very confident. He delivered a couple nice balls earlier. I think they're going to have to evaluate that at halftime.
Yeah, not even just to the right side, but those short intermediate passes that seem to be working well for them early on in the game. They've kind of abandoned that third and whatever it was, third and 6, or it would have been a 3rd and 6. You're trying to get that much yardage. 3rd and 6 is rather manageable. I think you kind of have to try to get something short there and pick up the first down and not kind of take the risk of going for it. That's a play that Ben Roethlisberger would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
You'd have a 3rd and 6, and he would just try to throw it down the sideline to somebody. It's like, just get the first down, live to play another down. That's what's made Tom Brady great for
patience.
21 years now.
Patience is such a virtue when it comes to quarterbacking. You know, that time I was also surprised at the player choice. I mean, Kosecki has definitely proved to be a good target for the Yellowjackets, but at the same time, I would think if you're going to try to go downfield like that and stretch the defense, you're going to use either Clark or Lane, somebody with a little more speed, a little more playmaking ability, give them a chance at that ball. This is just a strange play all around, I think.
Gain of 9 on the play, 2nd down and 1.
So 2nd and 1, 4:21 left here in this first half. Time is kind of ticking right along. Olsen, another handoff to the general, Alex Patton, rumbling, stumbling down to the 45 and into Yellowjackets territory.
And that was a great pull block that time by Ethan Christman. Ethan Christman came off as a pulling guard and just annihilated the linebacker and opened up that gaping hole.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Ryan. He did the same thing on that touchdown pass to Ian Olsen, able to get outside and get that ceiling block that sprung Olsen for the touchdown. So he's one of those kind of throwback, kind of Marquise Pouncey-esque type lineman. He can get out in space and be really, really good when he gets his feet moving. There's a chance for Christman.
And Freeport got lucky that time. I thought he missed the hole. I thought there was a hole, a cutback on the left side he didn't see. But again, Freeport continuing to maintain that four-man front and be content with just allowing Armstrong to body punch his way down the field, hoping they'll make a mistake late. So far, that strategy has not been a bad strategy. But I'm very impressed by the discipline of the coaching staff at Freeport, because if I was in there, and you see them going to odd front now, they're going to the five-man front now. They went to the odd front. Olsen, I think he audibled into a pass there, which was a good call. Just good coverage on the back end. There was nobody downfield for him to throw to. And again, Freeport deflecting a pass. They must have seen something on tape, because that's the second or third deflection we've seen at the line of scrimmage, which is rare against a tall quarterback like Olsen. But, they're doing a good job of not necessarily getting pressure, but timing up the pass and getting their hands up.
Olsen, another handoff, a very run-oriented possession here as the clock hits the 3-minute mark, and down for about 2 yards was Chrisman.
And you see the difference there with the odd man front, with that five-man front on Freeport's end. You don't get that gaping hole up the middle. You get the 2-3 yard gains. But what is open now is the outsides and the deep seams and the deep corners. So we'll be in, the chess match continues.
So 4th down and 8. Riverhawks going to go for it. Here hit, but getting the pass off, and a touchdown. Ian Olsen dropping that one in the breadbasket was Caden for another touchdown. What an excellent pass that was.
And that's the problem. We just talked about it. You go to that five-man odd front up front to try to keep from getting gashed up the middle. But once again, let's not forget, you're up against an all-state senior quarterback, Penn commit. You got a great receiver in the outside, and Ian Olsen. And as soon as Caden gets up there and sees a five-man front and sees that safety's in the middle of the field, he knows he has the corner of the end zone. And all it is at that point is a matter of timing. And when your brothers, you've been throwing in the backyard for 15, 16 years, the timing's usually pretty on. And it was on that play. It was a great connection.
So the Riverhawks looking to add the extra point and go up by 2 scores. And they will do just that. A 21-7 advantage now for the Riverhawks. 21 unanswered, Ryan, for Armstrong here after giving up that long run to Ben Lane. They've really found their stride, and scary sight for the Yellowjackets is they just seem to be kind of doing whatever they want at will, running the football well, getting some nice passes, as you saw right there. And second time the Olsen brothers have connected for a score, so it's going to be really back to the drawing board here at halftime for Freeport.
Well, we talked about it in the pregame. For Armstrong, the goal was to get balance early, get a running game established so that you could be a balanced offense and force yourself into favorable situations downfield with the passing game. That's exactly what's happened in this game. They've been patient, relatively patient. Early on, they tried to force some things down the seam that maybe wasn't there. Got away with a couple of those. But ever since then, they've been very patient. They've taken the underneath throws. They've pounded the middle of the field. And they finally forced Freeport out of that two-man look into that five-man front. Single safety in the middle of the field. And as soon as Olsen saw that, his eyes lit up, I guarantee you, like Christmas Eve. He knew what he had. As soon as they pulled him out of that, and now all of a sudden the big play's there, and they were able to finish the big play. So if you're Armstrong, this is exactly the way you drew it up. This is exactly how you wanted the game to flow. If you're Freeport, you got to say to yourself, okay, we're only down 2 scores. Let's get a good possession here. Let's get at least a field goal. Let's go into the half down a score and a half. Let's change it up for the second half. Come out second half. So
Hunter Reed clobbers that one into the end zone for a touchback.
Killed it. He must have been wired into the headset. I heard me praising the Freeport kicker Wetzel earlier for how he hit into the end zone. He must have heard that because he put a little extra on that one.
You gave both some love. You were fair. But you made the point.
2 good kickers.
Yeah,
I'd take either one of those kickers on my team.
You're rarely going to see a high school game with 2 quality kickers to this extent. Wetzel had a 54-yard attempt last week. Plenty of leg, but just missed it outside. It would have been good from probably somewhere beyond 60, which is
crazy.
Crazy, indeed. So the Yellowjackets with 2:28 left will try to get something going, and nothing doing. The Riverhawks just quick to the football right now. And
that's the second or third time they've tried that little little speed option. And I think that's going to be very difficult to do against Armstrong because they get too much pressure for that play to develop. I think they need to go back to what they did early on, where they get the ball to the running back quickly, have him get to the line of scrimmage, kind of get lost in the shuffle, and then try to bounce outside. That was working early on, and I think that'll continue to be there. If you're Freeport, I think you'd like to see them get back to that style of running more so than the speed option, because the speed option is just, it's not going to work against a team with the strength and penetration that Armstrong gets on every play.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think it's fair to say that the noticeable difference without Ben Lane on the football field right now, quite evident. It's just a different looking offense. You always have to kind of be paying attention to where he is on the football field. He's one of those guys that even when the football's maybe not necessarily in his hands, he can disrupt the football game. And again, this is yet another possession for the Yellowjackets that young man is not on the field with his teammates. Let's see if he is here. But that last play, he was not.
Well, he's your home run hitter, and if you're Freeport, you're not going to be able to work the ball down the field. Armstrong's too strong. Armstrong's too fast. You're not going to be able to work the ball downfield with methodical drives. You're going to have to rely on the big plays, as we saw earlier. And without Lane on the field, they do have some other people. Clark can make a play. Kaseki's proved that he can be pretty consistent. But Lane's their home run hitter. They need him out on the field.
2nd and 12. Little pass fake, throw across the middle, and there it is again. He had the guy streaking to the middle. The intended target was number 10, Brady Sullivan, but Crony just a little bit too in front of him. He really, you could tell he really geared up on that one. You can see his.
He never seemed to set his feet in the backfield. He never seemed to get comfortable in the pocket, and part of that's probably due to the fact that Armstrong's put some serious pressure on him throughout the game. But this time he had a kind of a clean pocket. He made a good decision, made a good read. He had the man, just wasn't able to connect.
So a 3rd and long and 2:17 left. So the Riverhawks calling that timeout a little bit ago, maybe to see if they can stop the Jackets here and maybe get the ball in advantageous field position and maybe put more points on the scoreboard before the teams retreat to the locker rooms.
And if you're Freeport, that is absolutely the last thing that you wanted to happen. I mean, at worst there, you're thinking as a Freeport fan, as a Freeport player and coach, you're thinking worst case scenario, okay, we don't score, but we go into half. Now, you're gonna probably be looking at being against it field position-wise on this drive, and you got a confident senior quarterback, Penn commit quarterback with a lot of eager weapons back there. And now, if you're Armstrong, you're kind of that shark smelling blood in the water. I mean, you're kind of going for almost like a kill shot here. If you're Armstrong, and if you're Freeport, right now, you just got to say to yourself, nothing behind us. Keep everything in front. You want to create an umbrella around the offense and keep everything inside and in front of you. Keep that clock running.
We have a chance. Want to thank another one of our long-standing sponsors, Phoenix Physical Therapy in Katanning and Rural Valley. Life is all about motion, so orthopedic injuries are just a part of life. Phoenix Physical Therapy in Rural Valley and Katanning will help you recover, recharge, and rise to new heights after an injury by creating a program focused on you. Call Dr. Brian out there. He's the man, and he'll get you all squared away. Or as another one of our friends would say, Terry Steffi, he'll slick you up. In a medical sense.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Phoenix Physical Therapy, we thank you for your support of High Top Sports Network, and the whistles blow. 2:11 left here. And another timeout, it looks like. Freeport this time, maybe wanting to see what the defense was out there. Maybe they had something drawn up, and the Riverhawks defense was ready for it. So.
Well, this is a very important play for Freeport. I don't know if necessarily they were working on some kind of trick play. They could have been. But I think more importantly, they understand how valuable field position is on this next drive. If Armstrong can get the ball in Freeport territory at like the 40, 35, 40, it's going to make every play in striking distance as far as the arm strength of Caden Olsen goes. But if they can get a good punt, get a good net, then all of a sudden now you're forcing Armstrong to work down the field, and you might be able to use the clock as a 12th man to get a stop before the half.
21-7 your score. 2:11 left here in the second quarter of play. 4th and 9, and Wetzel will see if he can show off his boot. But plenty of time left for the Riverhawks to possibly add to their 21-0 run they're currently on, and the whistle blows again. So just whistles galore here as we
And that's a killer. Coming off a timeout, you know, you just talked about it. You just came up with a play. And I guarantee you right now, the head coach and the coaching staff of Freeport, they do not want to go to the doctors for a stress test because they're going to fail after that. That is, as a coach, having a penalty off of a timeout is just,
John Gaylott, the head coach you speak of, the longest tenured coach in Armstrong County among all the Armstrong County football teams. Gets a nice punt off here, does Wetzel, but the blocker out in front, but wrapped up quickly as Olson at the Freeport 47. So still pretty good field position and still over 2 minutes left, 2:01 to be exact here in quarter number 2.
And that's exactly what you wanted if you're Freeport. A good kick with some decent hang time. You got down the field nicely, and you made the tackle. There was no missed tackle. They made a nice open field tackle there. Now you're forcing Armstrong to work half the field. They have 2 minutes and 1 second. Only one timeout left for Armstrong. So right now, Freeport, you're thinking keep the ball out of the sidelines, keep the ball out of the end zone, keep it to the middle of the field.
Armstrong,
clock is your friend.
Armstrong could do no wrong in that last possession, running the ball and passing the ball well. Here's another one of those little screens that allows the receiver to come back inside. Isaiah Brown's going to cut across the middle of the field. He's going to cut back outside and be wrapped up after a big gain down to the 24-yard line. About a gain of 24, let's say.
And again, the offensive line of Armstrong on those slip screens. Owen Kamer did a nice job of leading the charge out there, getting helmets on people.
Another one. This one with the tackler, I think it was Kaseki, able to stop a big gain, but
that's a tough play for a lineman to get out there and make that play, but they've been doing a good job consistently of hustling out there and getting those blocks.
Okay, Nolson's going to throw a little fade to the corner. Jump ball. Oh, he got it, I think.
That's a touchdown.
Oh, they're going to say no.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. That was nearly a highlight reel catch there by Isaiah Brown.
And
can't go to replay, can you?
And again, you know, Gavin Croney, you know, if you're Gavin Croney, you have the toughest job, in my opinion, of anybody on that field tonight, because you're the quarterback on offense, going up against a very stingy, tough, fast defense. And then on defense, you're on the island. So he's been on the island, I think, 4 times, and he got beat once, but the other 3 times he held up nicely, and that was actually textbook coverage. He was right with the man the whole way. He didn't interfere. He waited till he saw Brown's arms go up. Did a nice job of getting in there and breaking it up at the last minute. So you got to give Croney credit. They put him in some tough spots on defense, and for the most part, he's held up very well.
It's a heck of a call there, Ryan, too. And you got to realize they're not really bringing the safety over there too often to help. They're just trusting Croney to play one-on-one with Isaiah Brown, one of the more talented, taller, physical receivers in the WPIAL. And
he's competing out there.
He is. He's holding his own for sure. Now, you're going to get beat just like you saw he did there a little bit ago, but for the most part, when you're playing one-on-one and you're having to cover that much ground with and run alongside Isaiah Brown, most guys are going to get beat more frequently than he has here tonight.
And to be fair, and just to be honest, for those of you out there that aren't aware, Freeport's 3A, Armstrong's 4A. So when you're playing for a 3A school, a lot of times you're the quarterback and you're the lockdown cover corner, and that creates a lot of challenges that a bigger school doesn't have.
Takes the handoff, does Olson, gets past one guy, gets past more. He's just going to truck people until he's down to the 4-yard line, lowering the shoulder and dropping the boom was Caden Olson.
What a run by Olson.
Oh, wow.
And again, the
forearm shiver.
The power of Olson, when he gets to that second layer, you got a 3A free safety, probably goes 150 pounds trying to take down a guy that's 2 1/4.
Here's a throw on the money for the score to number 15 it is. That is the one and only Jack Valasek, the junior, getting into the act and the scoring act more specifically. And man, oh man, that's the last thing the Yellowjackets needed, as there's just still 58 seconds left on the clock this second quarter.
Well, you just got bunched in.
Never ending.
You got bunched in. You got gashed at the middle, so your natural inclination is to bunch in. And Valasek did a nice outbreaking route there. Great cut, created separation. Caden knew he had him. Nice solid throw to the outside for the touchdown.
20-point lead now for Armstrong. extra point will make it 3 touchdowns at the extra points, and it will be perfect.
And you know, it's almost Halloween, and you know, there's that point of every horror movie where, you know, the victim makes a poor decision. You know, the victim runs up the stairs, the victim goes into the garage with the chainsaws, you know, and unfortunately, the last 2 drives, if you're Freeport and the coaching staff of Freeport, I think you have a feeling like you just ran into the shed with the chainsaws in it, because the last couple of plays and last couple of drives and scenarios have went all Armstrong's way. And we talked about at the beginning, could Freeport, as the smaller school, you know, could they match the physicality of Armstrong for 4 quarters? It's hard. It's very hard when you're giving up size and when you're giving up numbers to a team, especially a team like Armstrong. It's proved they can go toe-to-toe with the best in the business, Aliquippa, and have Aliquippa cramping up in the 4th quarter, not Armstrong. Could Freeport match that intensity? And the last couple drives, you're starting to see the line of Armstrong get to that second layer of defenders. You're starting to see the runs. They're not engaging the ball carrier till 5-7 yards downfield. You're starting to see missed tackles, and you just got to wonder, is Armstrong wearing them out?
I think they probably are a little bit. When you're scoring, and there's another big boot. What a nice job there by Reed.
Michael Reed, you know, he's not the biggest guy on the field, but, you know, he's got the biggest leg on the field as far as Armstrong's concerned.
You said about the soccer players. They're not just soccer players, and that is the case certainly with Hunter Reed, his dad, Michael.
Oh, Michael Reed's his dad, yeah.
He takes fantastic photos. That's how you know
Yeah,
him.
you know what? Michael Reed he's an all-star photographer.
He is.
Sure.
Took some great pictures during softball season.
Thank you for the correction. Hunter Reed, you know, he has a tackle in this game as well. I mean, he has the boots. He hasn't missed an extra point. He's 4 for 4 in extra points.
Maybe the tempo-setting tackle.
Maybe that got him into the game. I don't know. It was a nice play, though. I mean, he was definitely not looking to avoid contact. I was impressed by that tackle.
Olsen was out there momentarily, but the Yellowjackets content with just taking a knee and getting the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah, I think sometimes you got to live to fight another day. Right now, all the momentum's in Armstrong's favor. The problem the Yellowjackets have is Armstrong gets the ball again in the second half. So,
yeah.
Definitely not the first half that Freeport was planning for, hoping for. They do have some positives, though, that they can go build on for the second half. They need to work the ball, in my opinion. They need to work the ball more to the left side in the passing game. They need to create plays in the passing game with Clark and Lane. Depending on Lane's status, we haven't seen him. But if he's able to go in the second half, I think you're going to see them taking some chances outside, maybe downfield, with one of those 2 guys trying to get a game-breaking play. On defense, you know, it's very difficult to say what to do. They went with kind of the take the body punch approach with that 2-man and got, you know, beaten down the field. Were able to get some stops early, but late got gashed. So then they switched to that 5-man front. They didn't leave help on the outsides, and Olsen beat them for a couple touchdowns on the outside. So if you're Freeport, it's going to be very difficult to come up with a strategy that can kind of neutralize this all of a sudden in this game, high-powered offense of Armstrong. And if you're Armstrong defensively, you got to be very happy. You gave up the one big play to Lane, the one gash play. Other than that, you've been pretty locked down, and you've forced them to throw to their right. That's not their strength. And you've forced them to run up the middle, which isn't their strength. So defensively, if you're Coach Hooks, you're pretty happy with the way things are going defensively.
Yeah, well said, Ryan. It's going to be kind of back to the drawing board here and maybe just really kind of scheming something up here, because I would think, not that this game isn't important in the eyes of Freeport, but really it doesn't count that much towards, you know, what this team's ultimate goal is, and that's making a run in the playoffs and doing some damage in the postseason, that being the Yellowjackets. But this one won't really hurt you, so they'd rather maybe play it safe with the Ben Lane and kind of err on the side of caution maybe with him here. But it'll be curious to see whether or not we see that young man in the second half, because this game certainly taking a turn after his absence became evident to us up here. But without further ado, we're going to turn it over to the bands. They're part of the game too, and we like to jam out to them up here. So without further ado, the Freeport Yellowjackets marching band here on the Richard G. Snyder YMCA halftime show.
of one desire. As a Freeport area Yellowjacket fan, never once to hear you say to them, the Backstreet Boys hit, I Want It That Way. With their mega hit, Oomba.
gentlemen, and welcome to the 2022 Armstrong Riverhawk Marching Band Halftime Show. Tonight we are listening to you in pledge of the Armstrong Riverhawk Marching Band will be preparing for you this year's halftime show. Memories in Black and White, featuring My Chemical Romance's Welcome to the Black Parade, Muse's Uprising, and Fall Out Boys, Thanks for the Memories. The band is under the student leadership of drum majors Emma Lindahl and Natalie Claypool, drum captains Abel Lagantia and Matthew McClafferty, and guard section leader Onyx Taylor. Now, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show this evening as the Armstrong Riverhawks Marching Band appears to be ready for their halftime performance. Drum majors Emma Lindahl and Natalie Claypool, is your band ready? Armstrong Riverhawks Marching Band, the field is yours for performance. Guardian Drumline as the band performs Muse's Uprising, the lead single from their 2009 album, The Resistance. show this evening goes back to the year 2007 as the band closes her halftime show with Fall Out Boy's hit, Thanks for the Memories. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2022 Armstrong Riverhawks Marching Band. The Armstrong Riverhawks Marching Band is under the direction of Mr. Jason Vineski, Assistant Director Mrs. Melissa Vineski, Guard Instructors Mrs. Tara Smith and Mrs. Courtney Eiler, Drumline Instructor Mr. Rob Weems, Marching Instructor Mr. Jason Dakota, Woodwind Instructor Mrs. Charlene Dakota, Brass Instructor Mr. Lou Rybar, and Marching Instructor and the voice of the Riverhawks Marching Band, Mr. Jake Hanish. This year's halftime drill is designed by Mr. Robert Harris. Ladies and gentlemen, the Armstrong Riverhawks Marching Band, I'd like to thank you for your kind attentiveness this season. Go Hawks!
recap of the first half. Freeport jumped up 7-0 with a 69-yard touchdown run by Ben Lane. After that, it was followed up by an Armstrong touchdown run by Jackson Crispin, a 15-yard touchdown run to make it 7-7. Second quarter, we had a 23-yard touchdown reception by Ian Olson to send the Riverhawks up 14-7, followed by another touchdown reception from Ian Olson for 31 yards this time to put the score at 21-7. Our final touchdown in the first half was a 4-yard touchdown reception from Caden Olson, number 15, Jack Valislav, to put the scoreboard is at 28-7. We will be down to the 50-50 in about 30 seconds here, so if you break out your 50-50 tickets. Winning 50-50 ticket, 762-841. Please stop by the press box with your ticket. Ticket number 762-841.
And welcome back to High Top Sports Network. That was your halftime show presented by the Richard G. Snyder YMCA. And while we had a break, I was trying to navigate down to the concession stand, and it was one of those moments in time when I wished I could have just called the guy down to my left, gentleman here in this these bleachers, Terry Steffi, because everybody knows that Steffi's Country Catering is a place to go on Sundays for Steeler games, and of course for all your parties, graduations, holiday meals, a great place to go to. So make sure you call the Hall of Famer himself, Terry Steffi, at Steffi's Country Catering. We thank him for his support of High Top Sports Network. The first half, one that started with a 69-yard gash play from Ben Lane for a score, and it seemed like a formula was there for Freeport, but Armstrong going on to score 28 unanswered and kind of having their way and wearing down that Freeport defense. And the big note out of that half is Ben Lane not on the field for pretty much the entirety of the second quarter. We'll see if he'll be back out there with his mates here in the third quarter, but if not, it's going to be an even more of an uphill climb for the Yellowjackets, Ryan.
Yeah, Joe, that was very unfortunate obviously for Freeport, losing a guy of Lane's caliber. Whatever was happening, I mean, just totally demoralizing. He's their home run guy. He's the guy that can make a big difference in a game and take over a game. And they absolutely need him on the field in order to play up and beat a team like Armstrong when they're playing up in a division.
And Armstrong with the football first. That doesn't help matters. And they will begin after Bartolowicz gets out to the 22-yard line, and that's where Caden Olson and the offense will set up shop here to begin quarter number 3. And that quick out-of-town scoreboard by Armstrong Indoor Athletics, a baseball, softball facility here to get you ready for the season all year long. It is in the 10:28 left in the third quarter. Hampton scores a 15-yard touchdown run by Brock Borgo That puts the Talbots up 21-0 over the Cavaliers. So Cavaliers offense still sputtering in Kiski area, as the first play is the pass to Jack Valasek for a decent amount of yards, maybe let's call it 7, but a flag down. See what this one is, Ryan.
That's an unfortunate penalty against Armstrong, illegal man downfield. I mean, you almost got to wonder how that happens. It wasn't a screen pass, just a short stop route. Somebody either didn't know the correct play or just got caught kind of strolling downfield there. It's an unfortunate play because it was a good positive yardage play.
There's a run play, banging his way through the white and gold of Freeport was Hatton, and Riverhawks quickly back to the line.
And again, they're in the 4-man front, so what's Armstrong do? Run it up the middle.
They'll try it again, but this time penetrating nicely there was number 12, Patton, carried it, but
that was a great play. That was a great play, getting in there, fighting off the block and making the tackle before the general could get steam going upfield. It was a great individual effort, and that's the kind of plays that you have to have when you play that 4-man front. You got to have great individual efforts like that.
Two receivers to both sides, spread out wide. Olsen's going to keep this one, juke a defender, get past another, but shoestring tackle, and he's down at the 37-yard line.
And again, that's the problem Olsen gives you. That's the problem he poses for you as a defense. You finally have a play where you can stop that middle run. So then what do they do in the next play? Pulls the ball out and runs off tackle. Just so difficult to defend that from a defensive standpoint.
And another flag down.
Flag on the play.
Olsen got them to jump again with that hard count.
Make it 4 now for Caden Olsen.
It's four Armstrong and one offside. So as far as the hard count yardage goes, he's plus 15 on the day.
And not too shabby. Olsen's gonna have some time and decide. Look at those long strides of him just gobbling up yardage. He's down past the 30 to the 25 and taken out of bounds around the 23-yard line. It's about 5 yards per stride, it feels like, when Caden Olsen gets out in the open field like that.
And that's where you got your 5-man front blocking the 4-man front and pass protection. You get the ends upfield, and once the ends are upfield, when you're at that cover 2, that 2-man, you got everybody in man. Nobody's looking at the quarterback. So if you can get him to the second level, especially a guy like Olsen, you can get big chunks.
Olsen able to hand it off to Alex Patton, but stacked up at the line of scrimmage for no gain. But the Riverhawks threatening here once again. 9:57 left, third quarter, and they are moving swiftly here in Freeport territory. Snap, blitz off the edge, gets the ball out in space to Ian Olsen, but a nice tackle there by number 4, that's Croney.
And Croney did a great job out there. Armstrong got a man out there, number 53, Will Adams. They had Will Adams out there trying to seal Croney off. Croney did a nice job of avoiding that block and making the play. That could have been a touchdown.
Olsen's going to keep this one out to the right side. Cuts, makes a couple guys miss. Nice attempt there from behind to try to strip it, but Olsen able to hold on to that one and be brought down around, let's say, the 12-yard line, and that's enough to move the sticks once again here, Ryan, with 9:13 left, third quarter. It just seems like Armstrong picking up where they left off in the third quarter, getting up big chunks of yardage however they want to.
And again, a guy with Olsen's experience at the end of that run did a great job for all you youngsters watching. For you that have youngsters, he did a great job of securing the ball at the end of that run and not allowing the strip from behind.
Oh, Olsen with a big cut there, and then brought down just short of the goal line. Man, what a nice little move there by Ian Olsen, just cutting on a dime.
And again, Ian Olsen showing you the strength of his game. He reminds you, he kind of, as a receiver with those little slip screens, he kind of reminds you
See if you're thinking the same guy
of Le'Veon Bell. He kind of, when he gets the ball, you'll see, even before he gets the ball and when he gets the ball, he kind of just settles in. He kind of just settles in. He kind of reads the defense. And then once he sees that hole, boom, he's in that hole.
Here's a pitch to the back. which is the general, Alex Patton, who will march into the end zone for another Armstrong score. That drive making it look easy was Caden Olson, the Armstrong offense. Boy, oh boy.
General Patton took Sicily there. That was a definite, meaningful, intentional sweep play all the way, and the General was not going to be denied the end zone.
Indeed, and Armstrong using a kind of a bevy of options there to move down the field. You see a couple Caden Olson runs, a couple nice screen passes, a couple off-tackle runs by the General, and all seem to work. And there's a tough snap. Give credit to Caden Olson there. It's like a first baseman there, caught it on a short hop almost and able to put it down.
And you say to yourself, why do you have an all-state Penn commit quarterback in there as a holder? And that's why.
And that right there.
No, that's why, because he's got phenomenal hands, and that was just a great job. That's a play he made it look routine. That is not a routine play. Put it in the perfect position. 9 times out of 10, the holder's going to bail there and go into some emergency play, 2-point play, but just a nice smooth hand transition, put the ball in a nice play. And again, Michael Reed kicked that ball almost to the edge of the track.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Hunter Reed, apologies.
Yes. Well, I was going to say, Michael Reed actually just sent us an email. We talked about his
Hunter
pictures, and he sent some over. So that was really nice of Mike.
Thank you.
Appreciate that, Michael.
The Reed family is multi-talented. Michael Reed, obviously, for those of you who don't know, is the soccer coach. So he's got a good program going there. And Hunter's taking advantage of both teams, doing a great job on both teams.
So 8:17 left as the Riverhawks kick off, and another boot by Reed right on cue, and this one's going to be taken at the 1-yard line and swallowed up and brought down by number 81. That was Marcane Duncan, excuse me.
I'll tell you what, Duncan, that was the first time I've seen that move since the Cheyenne Rodeo this summer. He just did a great job of wrestling that steer to the ground.
Did Ryan Sprankle take part in any steer wrestling?
I did not, although I was pretty impressed at some of the steer wrestling that went on. Those guys, they are crazy. Those guys are the craziest guys in rodeo.
Just no care in the world about their own safety.
No, people say bull riders. I mean, bull riders are crazy, but the steer wrestlers are absolutely nuts. I don't think I'd make it through a night out with those guys.
I don't think so either. And I don't. We could sleep. We could prepare for a week, sleep for a week, drink a ton of water, take every preparation possible. And those guys are gonna.
I challenge any guy or girl to survive a weekend with a bunch of steer wrestlers.
This might have to be like a documentary we put together. High Top goes to Cheyenne.
I survived a week with the steer wrestlers on the plains of Cheyenne.
It's like those ones where they drop people off in the middle of the wilderness to see how long they can last. Oh, man. Freeport getting a little bit of yardage. Crony's going to throw a wobbler and nowhere near the intended target. That was Sellinger trying to get him involved. And should be noted, no Ben Lane out there, Ryan. So
yeah, I saw him on defense playing safety. He was playing free safety on defense, but again, not out for an offensive possession. And that just takes away a lot of your game plan if you're Freeport. Probably takes away about 40 to 50% of your playbook. And now, you're having guys like was that Sellinger?
Yeah.
Sellinger? You have guys like that now they have to be in unusual situations. He's not the guy you want to just be going one-on-one, trying to take an A or B corner one-on-one down the sideline. But that's where they're at.
Same for Sullivan and a couple of the other.
There's Lane there.
Yep. So they do get him involved and a flag thrown.
I think there was a little extra contact at the end there. I think they're a little overly zealous with the finishing tackle there.
That might be going against the Yellowjackets possibly. It looked like
wow.
The referee barked in the direction of the Yellowjackets player there.
It was definitely a solid, hard tackle. The initial tackle looked clean, but there was definitely some extracurricular activity maybe on both sides. It might have been whoever struck last got called for it.
Back to what I was saying there a moment ago, personal foul. He's going to go against the Yellowjackets. So, yeah, not only Sullivan, but Stuyvesant, too. We saw him get a couple chances there early on in the game, and you could see that he can make guys miss in open space. So really, that the guys that accent Ben Lane really need to start taking upon themselves to make up for that loss, because I don't know how much you're going to see him be involved. He did get the ball there, but I would imagine it seems as though he's not at 100%, although he's still out there.
He is out there. His mannerisms and the way he's kind of walking around carrying himself right now tells you that something's just maybe not right. But, you know, you got to give the guy credit. He's there. He's out there trying to compete for his team, doing the best he can.
Crony's going to roll out. Nice speed there. Thrown across his body. That's a tough throw.
And, again, you got to wonder if Armstrong saw the same thing that we did with game film. They're
I'm not taking any credit. This is all you watching the game film.
They're definitely, Armstrong is definitely setting up the defense and setting up the pressure to force Crony to his right. And you know, that's just not the strength of his game. So we see it time and again. When he moves to his right, he's just not as accurate, near as accurate as when he's in the pocket settled, or especially when he's moving to his left. When he's moving to his left, he's been very effective. But Armstrong's doing a good job of not allowing him to get to that left side where he wants to get to, forcing him to his right, and unfortunately for Freeport and for Crony, hasn't been able to come up with the plays to the right.
Maybe not the best punt we've seen here out of Wetzel, but he's going to get a friendly Freeport bounce that ends up at the 49-yard line. Ball's loose.
Oh, jeez.
They're going to say the ball was touched at the 50, and that's where Caden Olson and Armstrong will quickly take over here with 7:20 left and a sizable 28-point lead on High Top Sports Network. We're going to take a quick break for Ryan Sprankle. My name is Joe Rhodes. We'll see you here in a brief second.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. We're here tonight at the Richard G. Snyder YMCA.
T-Bone. Woo! Guys, that's right. It's $5 Sushi Wednesday.
Produce sale. Bananas. 45 cents a pound.
Pork turkeys. You know why we're doing pork turkeys? We're doing a fundraiser.
The meat.
Sorry to cut Ryan off. I think he'll accept our apologies as he's standing right next to me.
Mike the Meat Man, I think he finished up there.
Caden Olson. You know, that's the thing, too. He's shifty. He makes guys miss. I know he's able to throw those long arms out there and stiff-arm guys, but you'll see him not even make contact with guys and just make a little juke, and down goes the particular Yellow Jacket in those cases. But a hold will bring it back. That's unfortunate as Caden.
I think Olson, he doesn't get enough credit for his athleticism. I mean,
No.
You're talking about a guy that is a stud basketball player.
22-11, that's all I got to say.
Stud basketball player. And, you know, he can move. For a guy his size, for a pocket passer, you know, he runs a sub-540. He can get there. I mean, you know, and he is shifty. He can make moves. He can make guys miss, which is awful tough when you're a big target like that.
What is the difference between a Caden Olson and a Justin Herbert, I ask you? Not a lot.
You know what? There's not a lot.
That's a guy that I think you really see a lot of the same intangibles.
Mm-hmm. Very similar playing styles.
Here's Ian Olson, who just keeps on moving. He'll take a hit or two and just keeps the pile going. Gotta love what you see out of this guy week after week. He just seems to be getting better and better, Ryan.
Well, you know, Ian Olson is a competitor. He's a competitor. Anybody that's played or coached any sport with or against him, he is a competitor, and he always figures out a way to rise to the top. So what he's doing isn't surprising me. He's just going to keep getting better.
This ball's going to be thrown on a dime and brought in. Flag comes in, doesn't matter. Isaiah Brown able to adjust to it, and that ball thrown only where Isaiah Brown could get to it. Thrown it to a spot, and it was a perfect spot.
And again, you know, Freeport had good coverage there. Crony, you know, that guy has been one of the hardest working guys on the field tonight, and he has provided some really good one-on-one coverage on the outside. Again, he had perfect coverage there. He even got his hand in it at the last minute. Just a perfectly placed ball by Olson, and good, strong reception by Brown, fighting through the hands of Crony and pulling that down. Unfortunately, looks like it's going to come back again. Looks like it's going to come back. It's unfortunate because that was a beautiful back shoulder deep throw and a great strong catch by Brown. Again, the coverage was there. Crony on an island against a much larger man. held up well and got a hand in there. Just a good job by Brown. But this is a huge penalty for Armstrong. Huge. I mean, that's a 40-yard net penalty, 45-yard net penalty.
Yeah, knocking them back the whole way to their own 42-yard line. So yeah, that one stings a little bit. But Armstrong, the way they've been moving the football. And that's another throw on the dot to Ian Olsen, who sheds another tackler, trying to juke his way to the middle of the field, and he's brought down after first contact. 10 yards probably after first contact is where Ian Olsen ends up.
And, you know, a great route there. You know, he ran a good, sharp route. I've been around him since flag football, and even in flag football, in 5th and 6th grade, he ran sharp routes. That was a good, sharp route. Ball was thrown perfectly on time. Enabled him to get upfield and make a play. And that last throw, as soon as Olsen released that ball, his hands went to his head. He might have just thrown that a tad before he wanted to. Didn't get his feet set the way he wanted to. Didn't get the velocity on it. Misfired, but no harm, no foul. On to the next play.
So a 2nd and 10, 6 minutes remain, third quarter. It's been all Armstrong here in the second half. Haven't really seen much in terms of big change from Freeport, as another run drags a few Freeport tacklers down to the 19-yard line. These guys, these Armstrong runners, running with authority.
And let's give, again, the Armstrong line some credit. They are wearing them down. Guys like Owen Kamer, Ethan Chrisman, they're just wearing down that front of Freeport. And now Freeport's back in that 5-man front.
Talk about the fake pass right there. Just got the defender to bite on it, and Caden Olsen able to probably pick up an extra 5 yards as a result. There's that athleticism you talk about. Part of it's just disguise. If you're able to disguise something as well as he did right there, that's
he pulled up Roethlisberger there. He showed his hand strength there, and he showed his control, his athleticism, because to make a ball fake like that downfield and maintain possession is a difficult thing to do, let alone gather yourself and do a power run up the middle.
Another screen pass set up well, and that's going to be Isaiah Brown, who trots into the end zone for yet another Riverhawks score with 5:19 left in the third. That might have just been the final blow here that puts Freeport really out of contention here over the last 17 or so minutes.
And that was a good adjustment to the ball there by Brown. He had to adjust to the ball. It was a little low and it was a little inside. He adjusted to the ball, got the ball, and at the same time read the defense, put a foot in the ground, cut it back outside, and finished the run strong for a touchdown. It was a great play by Brown.
Score looks like the West Shamokin Wolves have a 29-21 lead with 3:57 left in the third quarter there in Homer Center. A tough place to go on the road and play for those Heritage Conference people like myself.
And if you're Freeport now, you know, it's 42-7. This game is, you know, gotten away from you pretty much. I mean, it's not impossible to come back, but it's very unlikely to come back. But at this point, I think what you're looking for is you're just looking for a nice positive. You're probably going to go into the second string, if not now, in the fourth quarter. So for right now, if you're Freeport, I think you just want this drive to be a good finishing drive to get some momentum going into the next game. I'd be shocked if you saw Ben Lane the rest of the game. I'd be shocked if you saw Clark even the rest of the game. Trying to preserve those guys, to your point, for the conference games, for the games that truly do matter on Freeport's schedule. They wanted this game, I'm sure. There was a lot of back and forth between the student bodies throughout the week. A lot of behind-the-scenes Freeport Armstrong banter going on. So I'm sure they wanted to come here, compete, and get a victory. But in the general scheme of things, this really doesn't affect Freeport's season very much at all.
So I believe, is it running clock now? It's the deficit of 35 points. I want to say that gets the clock moving, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Here's Reed with another heck of a boot that's hard to handle. So what you're telling me there a moment ago, Ryan, we're going to maybe see the magician. Is that correct?
We could see We could see the man that some call the magician, some call him Crazy Legs. Both are very fitting nicknames. Could see him pretty shortly. We'll know if we see him warming up on the sidelines.
If you see that right arm flexing a little bit, then give us a heads up.
He looks like he's in a pretty calm stance there in the midfield right now. Although he's coming into looks like some alertness, judging from his mannerisms. Talking to Latanzio there, Coach Latanzio.
Wait and see, but probably just a matter of time as first Freeport play of this possession out past the line of scrimmage for maybe a yard and a half as the clock strikes 4:40 in the third quarter.
Gain of 1 on the play, second down and 9.
So Freeport really, it's funny, Ryan, that this game mirrors the game last week in several ways. Saw Armstrong make a couple just sort of miscues, that fumble on that early possession in the first play of it. You give up a huge chunk play, 69-yard touchdown by Ben Lane, and then you go on to score 42 consecutive points, and that's exactly what they did last week, and that's what they are at right now, a 42-0 run. Riverhawks are on. The second time they've done that in as many weeks, so not too many times can you say that.
Well, if you're an Armstrong fan or a coach, you gotta love the way that this team gets stronger as the game wears on, and has a lot of stamina and a lot of strength. That could bode very well come later in the season and playoff time. Some of those key conference games, having the ability and the confidence that you've finished games like this before against high caliber teams. I mean, Freeport was undefeated coming into this game. Aliquippa was a state champion coming into their game. That was a nice throw there by the freshman, Drew Ross. Threw the ball on time across the middle. I had a chance to see him in a couple of 7-on-7 tournaments in the offseason. And, he can bring it for a freshman quarterback. He's got good pocket presence, and he can deliver a good ball, and he did that there.
Crony, the starter, will presumably be calling it a night early here. So one would think that will probably be the same on the Armstrong side.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot was asked of Crony tonight, going up against a defense like Armstrong, and especially losing his primary target really after the first quarter. That was a very challenging situation for Crony. All in all, I thought that he gave them a chance early on with some plays to win the game or to be in the game. He did what he could. Defensively, I thought he played a phenomenal game on the outside with the way that they were making him play man-to-man in those isolated downfield instances. He did a fine job, I thought, tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You didn't talk about the task it was to have to try to produce after the loss of Ben Lane, and I think even more impressive is the job he's done in playing corner most of the time, matched up against Armstrong's best and biggest target, Isaiah Brown. So
yeah, he was giving up size to both of the receivers he was asked to stop. He was giving up size and possibly even speed, but did a great job man-to-man. I mean, even the completions were contested. He found the ball, not one pass interference penalty, and 6 or 7 deep ball thrown at him where he was one-on-one. So nothing to hang your head about. He's going to have some good games ahead of him this year. You gotta be impressed though. Drew Ross, the freshman coming in, he looks pretty composed back there.
Right on cue.
Yeah.
Way to jinx him.
The jinx. Yeah, that's on me. That's on me. I apologize to the Ross family because that's all on me.
Ryan Sprankle will need an escort to his car tonight.
Yeah, that was on me. The announcer jinx, I guess, it is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
100% a real thing.
I was impressed. He showed a lot of composure. Had a nice completion there. He looked like he was calling out the signals with confidence. And then I jinxed him. So I apologize to the Ross family.
And out comes Crazy Legs.
There he is, Crazy Legs.
So that will be it for Caden Olson tonight. His night over with 1:11 left here in the third quarter, 42-7. So probably a good thing. Keep those legs of his fresh and let Crazy Legs get a little run here and keep his nice and warm.
I will say this: last year, for those people listening that attended the junior high game at Freeport, the last game of the season last year between Armstrong and Freeport, I'm not exaggerating. I think anybody that saw that game would agree with me that was one of the best games I witnessed all last year. And I'm talking any level, pro, college, high school, junior high. Back and forth battle between these two groups that are on the field right now. It was a back and forth battle, came down to the very last play, and Freeport held on at home to win just a back and forth exciting game. So, but during that game, there was a lot of chippiness back and forth. So the groups that are out on the field right now, they do not like each other, I can tell you that much. This is a real, the people that are on the field right now, this game is not over.
It's just starting.
It's just starting for them. Yeah, it's like November all over again.
Handoff goes to number 25. That is Phoenix Winecoop getting his first touch of the evening, and it'll be the Sprankle offense conducting things here for the remainder of this one. He'll have 4 receivers to his disposal. Winecoop in the backfield to his left. Gives it to Winecoop, who's going to bust it up the middle and drag tacklers. It doesn't matter who has touched the ball for Armstrong tonight, Ryan. They are just dragging guys with them wherever they go.
You gotta give credit to the coaches there. They have these running backs running with a purpose, and they are running looking to deliver the blow. And that's what you want. You want to have running backs that run with attitude, that are looking to deliver the blow.
And quick shout out there to number 14, Chase Jablonski. He put his hands up like, Coach, why are we running one more play? He looked over the sidelines and threw up his hands in a funny manner there. It's like, I want as much run as I can get.
Well, for anybody that knows Chase Jablonski, he's not afraid to give his opinion. He's a heck of a player. You're going to see him the next few years. He's going to have a lot of receptions. So far in this junior varsity season, he has 6 touchdowns, receptions in 3 games, and 3 more extra 2-point conversion receptions. He's got a great nose for the ball. Reminds me of just some of the great nose for the ball receivers in the history of the game of football. He finds those openings, and he's just available, and he's a nice big target with good long arms and strong hands.
That was your third quarter. It was, as always, presented by UFP Parker, and where else but Parker? Fine wood products at a place that can help you expand your career, not a place where you go and stagnate and kind of just work the same job. They want to help you advance. They want to kind of move you through their company. They're like the Steelers. You know, they want to build within. They want to promote their own. And that's why you should check out their jobs and their openings right now online at ufpi.com/careers. UFPI or UFP Parker, right up the road. We thank Shelley and Hutch for their continued support.
And if you're both of these teams right now, the one benefit to what's happening is you're getting a lot of your future stars and starters getting some serious action under the lights in front of a big crowd. It's a great experience for these young guys. That was a great run there by Sprankle.
That was a great run by Sprankle. I like that he was able to kind of decide quickly whether or not he was going to keep it. You kind of were still convinced he might take that pair, give that pitch at the end, but instead finds a seam, and I can kind of see why his crazy legs. It's like 1 second he's going right, the next he's going left, and he's going right again. So.
And
it's a different look than Caden Olson, we can say that.
It is. He's got a different style for sure. He patterns his game off of Patrick Mahomes. He loves the way Patrick Mahomes plays. He loves the way that he kind of creates passes with his legs, looking to throw, but still effective with his legs.
Good job there to pitch that one out to Winecoop, who
look at the strength of Winecoop.
Get outside and break a couple tackles, and he might be on his way to pay dirt, and he is for a touchdown. Another great play by the Riverhawks.
What a run. You know, that was just from a Riverhawk standpoint, the line did a great job of holding the line of scrimmage. Sprankle made a great read on the end there. Got the ball out to Winecoop, and Winecoop showing amazing strength. At one point, he had a man holding onto his jersey, dragging him. He fought through that, fought through another couple of tackles, and then had the burst, the breakaway speed that anybody that's watched him over the last couple of years, junior high and junior varsity, Phoenix can kick it into another gear once he gets in the open field, and there wasn't anybody catching him there. He totally outran all the angles. Great individual run there. Great job overall with the offensive line. Everybody involved. It was just a very nice option play.
Yeah, that was a well drawn up play. And, the one thing I feel like I already noticed with Sprankle and at quarterback compared to Olsen is not that guys don't expect Caden Olsen to run the football, but I feel like they're just kind of seemingly waiting a little bit more for Sprankle to run the football as compared to Olsen. And there they were kind of collapsing on him, and right at the perfect time he pitches that out to Wynkoop, who then, as you said, had a guy kind of draped on the back of him there momentarily, but able to break that tackle and then show off the wheels with some breakaway speed. So,
well, running is part of Colt's game. It's always been a part of his game. He definitely can stand in there and deliver a ball when he needs to, but he definitely uses his legs to put himself into good positions, to put his teammates in good positions. And you saw even right there, just that option is an art. And just the timing of the pitch is the whole game. And that was just a good job of not caring about your own body, waiting until that last possible second to deliver that pitch, knowing you're going to get destroyed. And then, Wynkoop just showed a lot of. If you're an Armstrong fan, you're watching Phoenix Wynkoop, you should be very excited about that young man. He's going to be something else coming in the next few years.
So the Magician able to help get the Riverhawks on the board, along with Wynkoop, and mentioned Jablonski there, some of the guys that Riverhawks fans can look forward to in the years coming. And that's kind of what you're going to see here over the remaining 10 minutes and 11 seconds, as the Riverhawks now have scored 49 unanswered points here to run away and hide from the Yellowjackets. And Ryan, I think Armstrong was probably the favorite by most in this game, just because of what they've done so far and being a larger school. But I don't know if anybody quite saw the game getting out of hand to this extent, and Armstrong building a 42-point lead.
Now, I think for both teams, you can come out of this game, learning something like you do with every game. I think for Freeport, you can say to yourself now, okay, you know what? We know now, okay, we went up maybe against some weaker teams first three games of the year, but you know what? We're a good team, because good teams beat weaker teams and beat them decisively. So they know they're a good team. But now you've went up against a very, very physical team that you're playing up a division, and you went up against a very physical team, and you went with them. You know what that experience was. So now you know what you need to prepare for as far as down the line, going up against big conference opponents, going into the playoffs. You know the level now, if you're Freeport, of where you need to get to in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, if you're going to get a blemish on your record, as the case will be now for the first time all season for the Yellowjackets, the first time they've started the season 3-0 since the 2015-16 season. This is maybe a good time to have it happen, kind of get just, hit on the chin kind of hard like this, and get back to the drawing board here and get ready for conference play, as we kind of keep alluding to, as obviously that's what really matters. That's what decides whether or not you're a playoff team. So that one, a pitch, but that one's loose. It picked up by, how are they whistling that one? They're going to say a pass.
Yeah, I think that was a forward pass. I think it was a late attempt to try to make something happen by Ross, and it was, I think, a good forward pass.
And another out-of-town scoreboard look for our AIA Armstrong Indoor Athletics here in Katanning. The fourth quarter now upon the Hampton and Kiski game, and it is the Talbots leading sizably, like the game here, 38-0. Kiski unable to put even a point on the board, and really just not putting up very many points this season at all are the Cavaliers. A tough go so far.
Now, there was a lot of optimism, I think, for Kiski coming into the season, but just haven't been able to kind of find their identity yet. I watched a couple of their games, and it just seems like they're constantly struggling to find out which back is gonna turn into the main rusher. Quarterback position, they haven't gotten the production that they've wanted to out of the quarterback position. Losing Heinley last year at receiver to graduation, he's now with Shippensburg. That was a big loss, and doesn't seem to be that game-breaking receiver, or at least consistent receiver. So, Kiski right now is still, game 4, and they're still just trying to find themselves.
Yeah, and I looked at guys like Isaiah Gonzalez, and who's a flourishing player in both basketball and football down there, and not hearing.
That's what I'm talking about. These guys do not like each other. Saw some after.
Oh, I'm telling you, you watched the volleyball game the other night, Ryan, on High Top Sports Network.
Some spirited chants at that game.
There were some spirited chants indeed. We'll just leave it at that. You guys, it's still up there.
It's still up there. You can go back and check it out. But very spirited chants.
Caden Olsen's name being brought up.
May or may not have been brought up. Some
discussion about his quality of skill.
Yeah, some cross Allegheny River relationship related chance maybe. I don't know. We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. We don't know. We're not the Inquirer. We're High Top.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're not selling magazines on the shelf here. We're just.
We could though, maybe.
We could
if we really wanted to.
It's so close, but we're just gonna let it go.
Yeah, for now. So a timeout call.
We're gonna revisit that volleyball game for the chance. It's very easy to hear.
Yes, so maybe do that. In the meantime, we're going to take a quick commercial break here as a timeout is called for my man to my right, Ryan Sprankle. My name is Joe Rhodes. We'll see you here in a second.
Steffi's Country Catering prepares home-style made-from-scratch dishes that will have you convinced Mom made it. Whatever the occasion, Steffi's Country Catering will have you coming back for every event year-round. Find us on Facebook to place an order or to see our Sunday specials, or call 724-54-85047.
In life, some things just go together, like a burger and fries. And home and auto insurance from State Farm. Combine and save.
In Ford City, talk to State.
And a fake punt happening right now. Oh, that could be a block. Ball fumbled. Might be a chance. No blindside block called it so far, but
I think he called it. I think it was late called, but I think he threw the flag.
Yeah, I got this.
I don't know how. Yeah, he had to have called. He was right there. Official was right on the call.
You know, you kind of want to be able to hold your flag if you're the referees at this stage of the game, but that one a little blatant.
In the words of Reese Bobby, it was egregious. For all you Talladega Nights fans.
All you got to say is you like little pancakes.
I had a whole mess of crepes this morning.
Actually pretty good. If you don't chew Big Red, we won't say the rest. We'll leave it to other High Top Sports Network commentators.
Yeah, we're going to stay away from that one too. We're dodging bullets left and right here.
It's like,
let's see what
even General Pat can't help us.
Yeah, I know. Let's see what the magician has in store here.
Yeah,
ball to 29.
Well, I'm curious what the playbook will entail here. Are you gonna kind of just see? Or are you trying to get out of here?
You can't throw the ball. That wouldn't be right. But you know, I'm sure he wants to make a throw here. Well, I'm not. I'm 100% sure he wants to throw here. I don't think Fabian's going to allow that.
And Coach Fabian out of the box, down on the sideline, a rare thing to see at this stage of the game. There's a handoff. Looks like that was number 22, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan. I think Rex Harmon.
Good strong run there by Rex Harmon. He's one of the toughest kids you'll see on the field. Very strong, very tough kid. And he showed it with that run there as he moved 2 or 3 defenders downfield about 5 yards after the contact.
It's actually blackout night in memory of Sean Klingensmith. Just seeing that now, and had a chance to, when I first got here, do a story when he and his brother were being inducted in the Armstrong County Sports Hall of Fame, and of course his passing. Very unfortunate. Big into football here, weightlifting, and certainly will be missed by many. The impact he had made.
Well, his memory and his legacy are being well carried out, though, with the Sean Klingensmith Scholarship Award that they do each year in the blackout night. Very fitting tribute to the man.
He did a lot for the weightlifting community in the area. Just very close with his brother. I'm sure tonight's bittersweet in many ways for Mike.
Bittersweet, but I'm sure a lot of pride.
For sure. As the magician hands it off to look like number 36.
Costa.
Not Jerome Bettis.
Costa Cookness.
That was Costa Cookness instead. So add another name to the list of ball carriers this evening.
Armstrong is in a good spot program-wise with their skill positions. Receiver-wise, I mean, when you have a guy like Chase Jablonski primarily playing junior varsity, I mean, on a lot of varsity teams, he'd be a 1 or 2 receiver. He's a good athlete, He's got good instincts, great hands. Just a great player, and it just is a tribute to how deep Armstrong is at receiver.
Yeah, they are not losing anybody. You'll bring back Isaiah Brown, your top receiver. He'll be a senior, so expecting his best. A little end around there, and that time it was number 44. Isaac Cushy. Add another name to the list.
Isaac Cushy, he's a team favorite. The guys love Cushy. He scored a touchdown against Valley in the junior varsity game, first game of the year, and the stadium erupted. I mean, he's very popular amongst the players.
The glue guys. One of those glue guys.
Yes, exactly. Yes, he definitely plays that part.
Back to your point, though, you talk about Isaiah Brown, he'll be back as a senior. You got Ian Olson, who I honestly just see maturing in front of our very eyes week to week. He is just taking leaps and bounds, it seems. 2 touchdowns here tonight.
And we didn't even mention on offense, all but maybe 1 or 2 times, Kyan Klein.
I was going to say.
And Kyan Klein is a lethal weapon. And really they didn't even, it might have been partly the defensive playbook, but the way that they were playing, what they were giving up defensively. But we didn't hear his name, but he's been a major target this year.
Yeah, I didn't really get to. That's my apologies, because I feel like I should have been paying a little closer attention to. I didn't really see him, any time he was even targeted much, and he was a part of that play here to the right 30-yard line, 25-yard line, whenever that was, when he tried laying the boom, and another Armstrong player kind of collided with him, and he took the brunt of it, and hoping that he's all right, because I did see Todd Harvey, the Iceman, as he's fondly known.
Yeah.
And he went to him pretty quickly, and looked like he was kind of grabbing near his head area, so hopefully all is well with Kyan Klein, another guy who is certainly taking big steps every single week, it seems.
Oh, absolutely. All those sophomores that are seeing significant playing time. I mean, that group of guys has had arguably more success than any group in Armstrong history, and I mean that. I mean, they were involved in as youth from the time they were 8 years old. They were in or won, I think, every single Super Bowl as a youth, their grade coming up in youth. Junior high, I want to say they only lost 1 or 2 games in 2 years, as 7th and 8th graders, and now you're seeing them all seeing significant time, and not only seeing significant time, but in featured roles for Armstrong. So that sophomore class, they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. In the junior class for Armstrong, even though the numbers aren't real high as far as that junior class, as far as quantity of players, the quality of the players that are juniors, you mentioned the names already. The next few years for Armstrong, even though they lose their captain, their all-state quarterback, which will be a massive loss, there's a lot of skilled players that are just getting better and better every week.
Yellowjackets now with 2:17 left, and if you're Armstrong, again, another big win here and that one through the hands of the intended target, number 20 for the Yellowjackets, the young man Owen Nystuen, a freshman.
And again, we saw the freshman Ross composed back in the pocket. He hung back in there, didn't panic, made a nice throw with touch over the defense and into the hands of the receiver. Unfortunately, wasn't able to come up with the reception. However, if you're Freeport, you gotta like the composure of this young man. He's out there competing. He looks very, very composed, very solid, very comfortable back there.
It will be interesting, not just in football. I mean, obviously, I'm a big basketball guy. I love the game of basketball, and it's going to be fun to watch some of these athletes develop on the hardwood as well. And certainly Ian Olson, I'm excited to watch him on the hardwood here in just a couple months. I'm not rushing the fall, don't get me wrong.
No.
But I do love my hoops.
No, the Olsons are exciting to watch on the basketball court as well. And again, you got an Armstrong basketball team that's bringing back a lot of guys from last year.
I think the guy to your right could tell you a little bit about that team.
Yeah,
Coach
I think
Cavo up here in the
Coach
booth.
Cavo probably could say a few words, but
nice boot
if
there.
you're an Armstrong basketball fan, you got pretty much the whole team coming back, and I'm sure the expectations are pretty large from inside the locker room.
Might I say, the bright spot for Freeport, certainly, they've got a kicker with a titanium leg.
Yes.
I'm not saying he's an amputee. He has a boot.
No,
he's not an amputee.
No,
Just want to make that clear.
And, you know, it's impressive. I mean, punting-wise, too, he's really done a nice job of giving them decent field position.
That was about a 66-yard punt. So not too shabby
No.
for that young man. Isaac Wetzel, number 8. Not to be confused with Steve Young or Kenny Pickett.
No, but, you know, he keeps making kicks and making making them as easy as he's making them look. You might see him on Saturdays on TV. And that kind of leg strength doesn't come every day.
Yeah, it does not.
And accuracy to go with it.
So the Riverhawks, with yet another convincing win, really, they were on the verge of defeating the number 5 team in the nation, the number 1 team in the state, Aliquippa. If not for how that last quarter played out, we'll never know. But it's interesting to watch. You see so much potential, and you see so much upside here. You know the ceiling is somewhere high up there, but how high, we have to wait and see, Ryan, because you see moments where it's just like you want to just kind of put your hand on your head and say, how do you make that mistake, and how do you give that up? But then there's other moments where they look like world beaters and they look virtually unstoppable. So it's like, will you continue to see that progression, or will these small mistakes that a good team will take advantage of, a good team in Class 4A, especially come playoff time, will take advantage of? What will play out as we head further into this season?
Well, this is just another big step, I thought, for Armstrong towards, what is fast becoming their ultimate goal. This team really, they won their first playoff game as a program last year, so they got over that hurdle. This year, I think there was a lot of uncertainty this year. You lost a lot of leaders last year. You lost a lot of senior leaders, and this year there was a lot of young guys that were asking to step up into pretty featured key roles. There were some questions of how the receiving corps would be, being as young as they were, how the line would be, with some people replacing some seniors.
Hi, I'm Dr. DeMond, owner of DeMond.
With a lot of younger guys in the lineup. We got a lot of sophomores out there, a lot of juniors out there. We have a freshman out there, Hutchins, seeing a lot of time. So there was a lot of question marks coming into the season, but if you're Armstrong, I think right now, as a fan and as a player and as a coach, I think now you can safely say, okay, we have something here this year. We have a physical team. We have a team that can play with anybody. We have a fast team. We have a lot of depth and a lot of youth that every game seems to be getting better and better. So I think, if you're Armstrong right now, you love where you're at. You want to enjoy this game tonight, and tomorrow you want to start focusing on, Sunday or Monday you want to start game planning and focusing on the next week and get back to basics. You don't want to get too big of a head, but you got to feel good about where you're at right now. If you're Freeport, I think, like I said, you look at this game as, okay, we went up against one of the better teams arguably in the Whippeal now after 4 games. One of the better teams in the Whippeal at 4A. We're 3A. We were 3-0. We beat teams we should have beat. We beat them decisively coming into this game. We now know the intensity level and the physicality that we need to have if we need to win games against big teams. They know what that is now. So now they can prepare for that, and they can get ready for that. And I think they're going to come back from this, and later on in the season, they're going to look back at this game and say, okay, that game was a great game for us as a team.
Yeah, Ryan, and it's going to be really just interesting to watch this team as the season goes on, and just the steps that they make and how they go about fixing the errors and these mistakes, because that's a part of the process too. How will they go about this maturation process? What lies ahead in that process? It could go very different ways. The one thing I think for Armstrong right now, and this should be noted, they're healthy. Look at Freeport tonight. I don't think paid enough attention to the fact that they had some guys, significant players, sidelined with injuries, and that will hinder any team real quickly. So for these Riverhawks, they're lucky that they've been able to avoid that part of the game so far, and hopefully that will be the case for them moving forward. And certainly we hope for Freeport that they get some of their stalwarts back, Ryan. for this latter part of the season. We're nearing the midpoint already. Hard to believe, but
it is hard to believe. We are in mid-season, and they have been fortunate with the injury bug. It hasn't struck. Some minor injuries where people were off the field for a quarter or so. But one thing I'll say about Armstrong is, if any team's built, you hate to say this, but if any team is built for injuries, it is Armstrong, because they have a ton of different guys that can hurt you. They're very balanced. We called out 8 or 9 different names on offense today. So I think Armstrong is a team that can take an injury or two and still maintain that same level of play, whether or not those guys are on the field or not. Where, a team like Freeport, now granted 3A, you don't have as many players out for the team. You don't have many players to choose from on the team. The star players become even more important as you go down through the divisions. But we saw Freeport today, when they lost Lane, it changed their whole culture. It changed the whole game. So moving forward, they may want to almost put him on a pitch count, especially on the defensive side of the ball, to make sure that they maintain him on the field and keep him on the field throughout full games and full season.
Yeah, Ryan, and before we head to mention and pack up shop here, I want to thank Dave Hartman for you guys got to watch this game tonight and get those awesome camera angles because of Dave's work. So people forget sometimes that you just hear our voices up here. There's more to what happens, and we thank Dave for contributing his efforts and doing a heck of a job behind the camera. It's not an easy thing to do. So thank you, Dave.
And he did a good job at dodging. I mean, when I talk, I tend to move around a lot.
Yeah, me too.
And so he did a nice job of maintaining his level of focus amidst the chaos and flying coffee cups and phones.
Things of the sort. Probably more. But thank you, Dave. We appreciate you, and excellent work as always. Ryan, turning the page now to the play of the game. You'll go with your choice. We'll have to decide a mutual player of the game here, though.
I thought the play of the game, in my opinion, was the first deep ball in the corner. The catch Olsen made, over Croney. I thought that was a very important play because Freeport at that point had shifted their defense. I want to say it was 14-7 at the time or 7-7 at the time. Freeport had made an adjustment on defense with a 5-man odd front. They were starting to shut down some of those runs, and that play, that Olsen to Olsen connection, in my mind, kind of broke the spirit of Freeport because at that point, I think they were just like, what do we do? What do we do now? Because we tried to stop the run. We tried to bring that extra guy up. As soon as we did that, they beat us on a long ball for a touchdown. So now we're just guessing the rest of the game. And from Armstrong's standpoint, I think it was like, okay, now we go. I think that was like, okay, now we go. So, that for me, that was the play of the game. There was a lot of big plays by a lot of athletes, but that definitely was my play. It was a great individual effort, putting the ball in the right place and making a very tough contested catch by the other Olsen.
I would agree. That would be my play of the game as well. The drive of the game, Ryan, what would you say was the drive of the game?
I think the drive of the game was the first drive that Armstrong finished, with using a heavy dose of the general and mixing in some short passes and some Caden Olsen runs. They were patient and they just physically dominated Freeport down the field, and that kind of a drive sends a message, and that kind of a drive dictates who's gonna drive the rest of the game. And that drive, I believe, was the one that made it 14-7. And that to me was the drive of the game because it dictated play the rest of the way.
Yep, I agree with you again. So for two in the same, let's see if player of the game are the same. I'm going to go with Ian Olsen. If you give a guy a ball in open space, you're basically leaving it up to him to see what he can do there. It can go one way or it can go the other. Of course, his brother's got to put it on him, and he did quite well, as he always does. But again, it's every week I feel like we're seeing another step in the maturation of Ian Olsen, and tonight was another example of that. Loving the screens tonight did the Riverhawks, willing to throw that ball in the flat and let some of those guys, whether it be Olsen, whether it be Isaiah Brown, kind of just use their skill in open space. And tonight we saw on a couple occasions where Ian Olsen really showed off his skill set out there in the flat and helped his brother out. And on his way to 4 touchdown passes before he gave way to the Magician. So my player of the game would be Ian Olsen.
Well, I totally agree, and for a lot of different reasons. I mean, receiving-wise, you saw him with the strong hands on the contested deep ball that we talked about. That was the play of the game. Made a great play on that ball, and that was a big touchdown at a big moment, the play of the game. He also showed you his versatility, caught a couple shorter passes where he caught the ball, got into space, and made the play, shed tackles afterwards. One was for a long touchdown run. He also had a couple just like shorter routes that set up the longer routes where he just ran good crisp routes, made good receptions in key times on offense. But on defense, we were very critical at times of Gavin Croney, especially moving to his right. But a lot of the times there was a reason why those passes were tough to complete, and it was because you got Ian Olsen and Jack Valasek out there on the corners doing a real nice job. So Ian did a nice job on defense as well. And we also talked about the importance of catching the ball on punts. And Ian is the punt returner, and he did a nice job of making some difficult catches on punts that maybe they aren't flashy plays, but it's a 10, 15, 20-yard difference in field position, and over the course of a game and a season, that matters. So he did all the dirty work too, along with the glamorous touchdowns.
Yeah, well said again, Ryan. It was a blast getting to do a game with you here. It only took 4 weeks in the season, but I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, a good game. Just a fun game because you get to see 2 local teams. Unfortunately, it was a little lopsided, 49-7, the final here. I want to mention that player of the game was from Franklin Village Shop and Save. Make sure you shop in Fuel Perks, late night place to get your gas. Sheetz isn't the only place that's open, so fill up. The drive of the game was presented by Schaefer's HVAC. We thank Schaefer's for their support of High Top Sports Network. And the post-game show presented by Sprankle's Neighborhood Market.
Hashtag Save on
Meats.
Come and see us.
So
we can't do what we do without you.
We're going to hop off because we urge you folks, turn on the West Shamokin game right now. 50 all in Homer Center. Lou Swartz having a dandy of a night. I'm trying to get the information on it, but they're sending me messages saying he has gone off. So I believe he had a 65-yard touchdown pass. Lou has 5 touchdown passes by himself, or 5 touchdowns by himself. So the quarterback, the 6'2", 225-pound Lou Swartz, taking over at the Homer Dome.
Never know what's going to happen in the wilds of Central PA.
That's right, District 6. Don't even get me started. Mine too.
District 6, that's where I grew up.
Me too. So 2 District 6 guys are going to log out here before you get all mad, you District 7 people. And we will see you next time here on High Top Sports Network. I want to thank our sponsors one more time because, again, folks, I always say this every broadcast that we urge you to seek them out and their goods and their services because they're the ones that are supporting your youth and your young people and giving them this platform to show off their talents, as you saw here tonight. And those individuals are the man to my right, Ryan Sprankle and Sprankle's Neighborhood Market, where you can always hashtag save on meat. The Richard G. Snyder YMCA. Check out the golf simulator. I know I need to.
Yeah, me too. I need some work.
Olsen Chiropractic, speaking of work, we need to get a little back cracking. I've been doing the inversion table lately. It's been good to me. So hopefully Dr. Ryan or another one of our wonderful chiropractor friends, Dr. Justin DeMond, there in Manor Township, they won't need me as a patient because I've been using the inversion board. Working out well.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the inversion board.
But also want to thank Shop and Save, the sponsor of tonight's player of the game in Franklin Village. Steffi's Country Catering, where you can order takeout on the Sundays, the good specials there. And then, of course, for the holidays, UFP Parker, where you can find a job, or a career, not just a job. Check them out at ufpi.com/careers. Lernerville Speedway, big race coming up tomorrow. You guys are probably well aware of that. You got a car painted up for it, I think, right?
Yeah, the number 10 Sprankle's car, hashtag save on meat.
Let's go.
Gary Lyle, he's
go, Gary.
And ready. Last year, this race last year, he was 1 lap away. He ran out of gas, unfortunately.
Good night, Greg. Greg Hedgeland, the public address announcer. Excellent job as always there.
Does a great job. He's a professional.
Well, Gary just got a new fan tonight. The High Top guys are a big Gary. Number 10, that's like Slash Stewart. We got Mitch Trubisky.
Yep.
A lot of great number 10s.
Gary's a class guy, too. He represents the brand well.
You know, it's quiet. We can hear our own echo on the headsets now. We're the last ones here. So quickly, Lernerville.
We're like the Marines at High Top Sports Network.
Yeah. AIA, Armstrong Indoor Athletics, thanks to the fine people down there. Also, Ryan Bowser State Farm. Visit him in Ford City today. And, of course, Schaefer's HVAC. You know, you need heat in the winter. You need cool in the summer. It's a necessity. You need it. So there's nowhere else to go for your HVAC needs than Schaefer's HVAC. And last but not least, Phoenix Physical Therapy in Katanning and Rural Valley. Ryan, thanks as always, man. Great job.
Yeah,
thanks for bringing your insight. You're good at you're good at the meat thing, but you're pretty good at breaking down plays and stuff. You could tell you love the game and you have a passion for it. So thank you for sharing that with us here.
That's a lot of fun. Thanks for having me, and thanks for listening out there. We can't do what we do without you.
Certainly, that is so true, folks. And thank you so much for taking your Friday night to spend it with us. There's a lot of things you could do with it, but you choose to spend it with us, and we couldn't be any more grateful for it. So for one final time, Ryan Sprankle, Joe Rhodes. We'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your week, and may no train pass you by.